Hey, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode 256. Yes, I've had a week off. If you those who have wondered where I've been over to see my folks. They live in another city in Australia, and so we toofed off over there for a couple of days and saw them, and it was nice. My dad's been a bit crook, so he's probably on his last legs, I would say. So that's a bit hard to sort of swallow, but I brought the kids with me, and we got to sort of do our sort of formal goodbyes if we needed to. But he's still with us, so we never know. We might be able to see him again. Who knows? The wonders of medicine is pretty amazing, actually, what they can do with medicine. Anyway. But anyway, if you're wondering about this show and you're new here, I won't bore you with my personal life. You can go back and watch previous episodes for that. There's been about 5 years of those, so good luck. You might need a few snacks if you want to do that. Anyway, we're talking about this stuff: synthesizers, drum machines, sequencers, music technology, samplers, anything to do with that sort of stuff, and the life around it. And that kind of is probably our mantra here. It's the Synth Geekery community. There's quite a few shows now on the internet, on YouTube, that do this sort of stuff. I'm not the first, but I have been around for probably a fair while. So probably, I would have to say that I'm one of the sort of earlier ones, I guess. But anyway, let's enjoy this episode, because we've got a few news items to get through. We've got some funny side. We've got some price watch that I've put some together, and Andy's put some together, so that should be fun. And I'll also introduce you guys to, there's 4 of us today because we don't have Ian, so I thought we'll do a quad screen. Hey, look at that. Haven't done the quad screen for a bit. It doesn't mean that that's all there is, because, as you guys know, we can invite people via Zoom, and the link is actually pinned into the chat. You guys will see it, but just down below you can type that into your browser. Now, Zoom is free. You don't need to download and install the app. You can just use it through your browser if you want to, or if you've already got the app, then it's a no-brainer. Click on that link. It should open up your Zoom app on your phone, your iPad, or whatever you've got, your computer, your PC, your Mac. And the good thing about it is, you guys, if you want to play with us with Zoom, you can come and go as you please. And we're more than happy to have you in just for a few minutes if you want to just do that. Otherwise, you can stick around. We would love to have you sticking around as well. So please join us on Zoom. It does work. Maybe some people don't think it works, but it does. It definitely works. We've proved it. Anyway, so this week we will start off like we always do every week and say thank you to all the people that contribute to the show. Obviously, before I go into the channel members and Patreons and all that sort of financial stuff, which obviously is really, really important, I do want to say a bigger thank you to these guys here. And Ian, if you're watching as well, Brooksy, and anyone who's been on the show before for longer periods of time, a big thank you for supporting the show and the community. It's much appreciated. I know you guys give your own personal time, whether it's early in the morning for Andy down below, and late at night for Chris and me. So appreciate that. Anyway, I thought I'd try and find.
You're welcome.
I always forget which button it is. I think it's this one. Hey, there it is. And the music's cutting out again. But anyway, here's all our patrons. And I think we had a new one join us, which is Franco. That's awesome. And Tieran as well. And with the channel members, it's pretty much the same old everybody, and much appreciated for those. But there is a couple of new ones who've popped in, like Robert, who we had on briefly, talking about that granular thing. I forget what it was called now. And Exorb's also on there as well. So anyway, those are our huge, massive, big list of supporters. Now, obviously, I think Future World Machines jumped on as well this week, if I remember rightly. But he's been on and off. That's really good to have him. Anyway, and if you guys see them in the chat, you'll notice that they've got a cool little Synth Geekery icon next to their name. Like Chris's Maikshifter there, and Future World Machines is there as well. And they change colour as the longer you're on, different colour you get. I think it's months and... Was it 1 month, 2 months, 6 months? Something like that. I think we showed it before anyway. Yes, okay. So let's start with how's your week been? Who wants to go first? I thought I'd get volunteered this time. Who wants to go first with how's your week been? Go on.
Well, I'll just say,
Daren.
My week's been my week's been pretty standard. I've just been sat in here writing, and that's my week. not a great deal to say, to be honest.
Well, you did a bit more of the STEM stuff.
The STEM stuff. Well, that's the writing, the live stuff. But even though I've not gone live yet, by the time I flipping go live at this rate, it'll be end of year again at this rate. But no, hoping to go live sooner than that. But I have too many ideas, and now I've got ideas for a rig that even though I'm on my fourth set at my third rig, I haven't even used the second rig yet, so to see whether it works. But yeah, just writing, doing the general work, job work, and
thanks, Mr. Spong.
Back here writing. So yeah, not a packed week, but just a standard writing and work. Standard, work, sleep, write, work, sleep, write. And then probably using this delete button a lot.
Eat, sleep, rave.
Because what I write is not work. Yeah. Delete, because that's not good. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yes.
I reckon it's nice having you in a different spot too, Daren. This week, you kind of, you're in a little...
It is kind of...
in a different spot. Cool. We kind of shuffled everyone around like a deck of cards. Who's next on the button? I think it's Andy. Andy.
Hey, can you hear me okay now?
We can.
Roger.
Of course, it takes now to... Hold on. Come back to me. It's a stupid thing.
Oh, okay. I'll go to Chris. Chris, we'll do you.
Oh, hello. Hey, everyone. I hope everyone's well and all the good stuff. Good to see everyone again. Well, I see you in the chat. If I don't see you in person. Yes, my week. Well, okay. In modular... Makeshift Modular, I can't even say my company name properly. I sold my first module to the land of maple syrup and lumberjacks. Canada. So that's cool.
I got that.
You got what?
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. So I thought you said I got that as in, oh no, I'm the guy from Canada.
No, I worked out the Canada. That's what I meant. I got.
Oh right.
I got
okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. No offense to Canadians.
Thank you, Smithy.
And my friends.
With the victory from the hippo dancing around. You can't see it there, but it's in the chat. Good on you, mate. Keep going, Chris.
Top of it. Oh yes. So yep, good. Center module off this week. Good. And music. The music video is pretty much finished. So I'm going to be releasing it probably on Sunday, or if not Monday. There's a few things coming up here which I might have to deal with, which might delay that, but Monday at the latest. I just need to, he says again, you just need to take some changes to the music. You always have to make changes to the music at the last minute, don't you?
Oh, be careful of that.
Doing
the rabbit hole.
But doing the music, doing the music video, it was abundantly clear that the last sort of minute of the song was a bit, just padded out for length, and I couldn't tolerate that. So, well, actually, I could tolerate it. I just got better ideas while I was doing it, much better ideas. So I went back and put those ideas in and played around, and I'm happy with the results. So I just need to mix that bit at the end and then render that out, and the music video is ready to go with it, and that'll all be out on Monday or Sunday, as I said, on my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/Maikshifter, spelt the way you see my name in the chat.
Can I do that
people
again?
who subscribe obviously don't need to do that. Around here, in the studio / office, if you want to call it, / bedroom, there's been a bit of reorganisation. A bit of furniture's gone out and new furniture's come in. I now have more drawers with cabinets in them. I'm gradually getting them in, and it was quite a challenge to get one in underneath this table down here because it's very low, but I managed to get something with drawers in. So that's cool. And I still got my little slide out drawer with my key step on it. That's still there. I had to do some trimming with the table saw to get that to everything to fit in, and I had to make a few modifications to drawers to make that all fit in. But that's kind of my thing, so should never complain about those kind of things. Other than that, what have I done that's more synthy than music and doing organisation in our studios? I bought something again. It'll probably be on tonight's show in our news section.
I can see it there.
No, I don't think you can see it there because I haven't got it yet.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the... Okay, all right. You were confusing me then. Keep going.
Oh. We'll clarify later. No, well, yeah. Something from Sonicware, which people will probably be able to guess. I put in an order for that.
Oh, I'm not covering that
and
today.
I also... Okay, no worries.
Yep.
I bought I ordered one of the Sonicware Ambient Zero, although me and Chris have discussed it and we prefer Ambient or because we reckon that sounds cooler. Yep, that should be a lot of fun, and it's a good price, so happy with that. I also bought a DIY kit for the Mutable Instruments Plats. I wouldn't normally go for a Mutable Instruments original, just because they cost a bit. But I've always wanted something Mutable Instruments in my studio, and this just came up. Someone's doing kits. I think Soundworks or something. Sound Study is the name of the people doing DIY kits for the Mutable Instruments Plats, and they are the original panels and original layouts, not one of the micro ones, so it's a proper full-on one. So I thought, hey, I'm going to go for that. I'm a DIYer and I enjoy putting stuff like that together. Fortunately, it's just an assembly one, so it's just you do the through-hole components, all of the surface mounts already done. So yeah, got one of those on order, so I'll have a Plats for the first time because I've never experienced it, so I don't really know what to expect yet. But I know a lot of people recommend them, and I see them in so many studios and so many videos and stuff. I thought
it's a good catch-all module,
yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see what firmware it ships with, because I believe now the new firmware also has a 6-operator FM synth in it, doesn't it?
Yep, you can put DX7 patches in it.
Yeah. So that sounds worthwhile trying, that's for sure. So there's that. I haven't built any. Oh, shame on me! I haven't built any kits this week. But I've been doing studio stuff. So so that's it from me. I've probably said way too much.
No worries. I had to boost you about 10 dB because they were complaining in chat that you were a bit quiet. So don't fiddle with it. Don't fiddle with it. Leave it. Because if you do, it'll go. I need to put it down again. But if it does get too hot on you, would just remind me that I've boosted you by 10 dB.
Okay, yep.
Awesome.
No
yeah. So other than that, I think Ian sends his apologies. He did say that he can't make it this week because he is. Where is it? What did he say to me? Synth Gearfest. So he's in London at Gearfest. He said he was going to try and zoom in. He doesn't have to. I don't mind. I really don't mind if you guys need to do your stuff. Do your stuff. You're not. It's not a job. I don't want it to be a job either, right? The moment that this becomes a job is kind of when it's time to say goodbye. kind of that's how I feel about it anyway. It does sometimes feel a bit like a job, but I've got a bit more responsibility than what you guys have got, so that's probably why that is. But yeah, I still really, really enjoy doing it. So anyway, let's get stuck in to saying hello.
Actually, I didn't go yet. Unless you want me to go?
Oh, that's right. You haven't gone.
Working.
Yeah, it's working.
I'm go yet.
So how's your week been then?
It's not fair.
I look like shit. I'm all
Nobody
disheveled
loves
anyway,
me.
so I didn't have a shave, a bedhead.
I don't mind it.
I don't
mind the old.
Hey,
So
old sea
You're
dog.
this is
like
the
you've been
senior
camping.
center dream. Yeah, right. Yeah, most of the same crap for me. If you've been following my stuff, I'm still uploading endless Living Dead weekend stuff. You guys are probably sick of it by now. But I literally shot hours and hours and hours over many days. So there's more of that coming up. But one thing I did lately, audio related, I'll put it in the chat here, is I did an analysis of the opening stinger of the layered Goblin and library music that Romero did for Dawn of the Dead. It did a live stream on it. Because he doesn't get credit for all of his audio editing that he did. He wasn't just a director, screenwriter, overall filmmaker and editor.
Yeah.
But he did brilliantly layered stuff together that's not on the albums. It's all pieces of things cleverly layered. And when you consider he did it on film, on magnetic layers with the painstaking reels where he's sitting there doing all that stuff the old-fashioned way.
Splicing.
What a nightmare.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and the fact that he did that throughout every movie he made, even Night of the Living Dead, they did some of that stuff. With layering various library music tracks and some soundtrack stuff made for the movie, especially like Creepshow, things like that. There's a lot of, so he's this amazing audio editor and layerer and music selector that people just don't give him credit for. He had help from some other people, but the fact that he did that, most directors won't even think about that. It's like, oh, that's the audio guy's job. It's not my job, So check that out. It was a lot of fun working on that, and gives you some insight into how he did it. And I don't have the exact clips he had because clearly he had stuff that was cleaner. I'm taking stuff from the 20th anniversary Goblin soundtrack, which has a couple layers, elements layered that are not super clean, like Mellotron samples that have some other synth on it, or like there's choir sounds and string sounds and things like that aren't completely clean because he had those. I don't have those, so I had to kind of improvise. So that was fun. I also added some other new stuff to my Bandcamp. So what the hell, self-promotion up the wazoo. And my favorite new thing is my ELZ Play, which I haven't had a chance to do a demo of yet.
Nice.
It sounds amazing. It's literally a major improvement of the original ELZ one. Added velocity to the keys, which is new. So now it beats the OP1. OP1 doesn't have any velocity on the keys. It has it's like 17 sound engines in it. You can sample into it. You can turn that into granular. You can do all kinds of other weird stuff with it. It's also kind of a best of. So it has stuff the Ambient Zero has in it. It has stuff the 8-bit Warps has in it. It has stuff the XFM has in it. So it's all these engines put into one box. Has proper 1/4 inch out.
Lovely.
They added a MIDI in, which was not on the original ELZ. It was just a MIDI out. They added sync, so you can sync it with Volcas and other things that do sync. So SD card, and runs on 6 AA batteries, or power jack, barrel connector.
Also runs
and
off USB
it's sturdy,
power too,
built-in
right?
stereo speakers. It's amazing. Best product they ever made so far.
Runs off USB power too, right?
I think so. I haven't tried that yet. I mean, it should, because it's not that much juice.
Yeah.
But the other cool thing too is if you bought a sample track and you don't like the sample track, you at least have the best drum machine maker for this unit. You can make drum kits in there, export them, and use them in the drum engine they added in this thing.
Okay.
And then you can use the arpeggiator on it and all kinds of other stuff. And there's also a step sequencer in here. It's crazy. It's just the effects are amazing. They added a shimmer and a bunch of other stuff with stretch goals. So highly recommend it. If you're on the fence about Sonicware stuff in general, this is the easiest thing they made to use it right out of the box, period.
Yeah, it's kind of like a.
So
It's a second. It's a second crack at something that he's done. So it's
they
an
took
improvement.
feedback from users clearly because they added like one of the other things that was interesting is the button advance for the patch and for octave skipping and stuff. There were chord keys on single paired buttons. So like if you wanted to do octave switch, you had to hold a modifier versus So now they have separate buttons for all these functions instead of having to worry about hold this for that or hold this for that. So the workflow is much cleaner. The graphics are beautiful on it, so it's an excellent little device. So, thumbs up.
I kind of feel like Sonicware are the new Casio with music.
I know what you mean.
Because Casio have kind of disappeared. They just do some rompler sort of crappy things now. I think their last attempt at something was that weird, spherical thing that they did. I don't know. I kind of feel like Sonicware, they've kind of taken off in a cool sort of place. Like I'm a big fan of the sample track. I've got the Liven FM, and I'll probably
I have a bunch of them, but they're so hard to use. Most of them.
I'll probably settle with just that for a bit. I don't think I'll get what you've got there. The new one that they've just brought out still really doesn't float my boat yet. But that's okay. Like they're
this
sort
does
of
some of
niche.
that ambient zero stuff.
Yeah. So they're kind of niche products, but the one that Chris has got would probably interest me a bit more. Yeah.
Texture Lab,
Yeah.
granular.
But
Granular.
Daren, this is Park Bench compatible. It's battery powered. It does everything. So.
Yeah. Well, all
It's a
their
full
stuff
studio.
is, right?
Yeah.
The sample track.
Yeah, but this is a keyboard. This is everything, right? It's MIDI controller. So
That is true. Right. Let's do some funny stuff, shall we? Oh no, we should. No, we've just before I was about to go to these guys. Sorry, apologies. Let's say hello to the Chatties.
Don't forget
the Chatties. Yes. If you are lurking, please do not lurk anymore. Jump into chat and say hi, because now's your chance to put your name up on the screen. Everyone's watching this. But let's have a. Oh my God, it's been the pre-show chat was going off like a frog in a sock. Let me tell you. There was people like Andy Synchrotron and I think Brett Lemmings was there earlier, and Future World Machines, and they're all chatting away. There was Half God, Half Beast. Anyway, so big hello to all those guys. Obviously, as I mentioned before, huge hello and thank you to all of our channel members like Mr. Mac and Kent Spong. You can see their names right there, and Future World Machines. So they're awesome people, but also all the normal people that haven't, quite crossed the threshold yet. You guys are still awesome, and you might be Patreons, like people like Wagoo. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're not supporting, and it's not a bad thing, so don't worry about it. Anyway, big hello to everyone who's joined. I'm not going to get through all the names today, but I have mentioned hello to you guys individually as much as I can, personally in the chat when I was mucking around. But a couple of new-ish names and return names I'd like to see here. Like, I thought it was nice to see, who did I see before? The name has escaped me. I Sing the Body Electric. Haven't seen that one for a while, so that's good to see. And also, I don't know if it's a new name, but there's Da Vinci Girl. It might not be, but I just I've got an old man brain now, so I can just get away with it. I can just use that as an excuse now. And who else did I see that might be new? Anyone else pop up to you? James maybe hasn't been there for a while and come back, I think. Anyway, so if you are lurking, no longer lurk. There you go. Nice to see Jack in there as well, and a lot of regulars. So anyway, beautiful. Right, what we should do is hit this button. All right, let your hair down, people. Here we go. Now, oh dear. I don't know how
we've come so far.
Yeah, I really don't know how that's going to work. There's, this is layered. This joke. This is layered. Can you guys work out the layers in this one? Ah, dear. Now, how come Andy's not showing in this?
It's also a hell of a sound system for ambient music.
Well, I mean, why would you not? Do you know what I mean? Get all the 19-inch gear up on the nice little rack there, and they look like some nice speakers, But yeah, but this is layered. You guys have got to understand.
It's like risky business. There's a preponderance of bass.
Yeah.
What is wrong with this?
Ah, dear. Yeah, we go think of it as sarcasm, and I think you might work out the joke a little bit more if you think it's kind of like reverse psychology sarcasm in a way. Anyway, I think we've solved people's problems with modular. All you guys need is just to put rubber bands around your knobs. Daren?
That's an OP1 trick.
Yeah. Seen that a few times, yeah.
That could be a good title for the show, Rubber Band Around Your Knob. Not sure.
Don't cut off the blood flow.
We don't want to snap any shafts off, so just be careful how tight the rubber bands are.
That's right.
Yes.
We don't want to cut off the flow of circulation to the audio signal.
To be honest, I'd be kind of interested to know what that patch is doing. It's a circuit. It's Crave. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. Next is taking the P155. Social media has been out of mode.
Oh, that's bad.
It's been terrible.
Oh dear.
That. I think that's already one, even though I haven't seen the rest. That's pretty bad, right?
That is pretty cringe, isn't it? That one.
Ouch.
Yeah. By the way, disclaimer: I don't make these memes, so if you want to throw your synth at the screen right now, please.
And for those who don't know spirit stores, because I think it's mostly U.S., they go into every empty store every Halloween. They just take over empty stores, so they're not. It's not a joke about Moog being a spirit. It's the fact that these stores come in and just take over every empty space and disappear after Halloween.
Yeah. So. But if I hear a few of these sound effects in the background, I completely understand it. Right.
Exactly.
The next one is, I love this one. This one just got me laughing during the week. It's just so cute. New York, London, Paris, Munich, everybody talking about pop music. Talk about do-do-do-do. Come on, guys, with me. Do-do-do-do-do. Come on, where's the girls?
Do up.
Pop music.
Up, shoot up.
Love it.
You're living in a disco.
See you with me. Yes.
Trevor Horn, much? Anyone?
Yes. Da-da-da-da-da.
Yes. All right. What else we got? This one was from Keith in Watford. I don't know. I haven't seen Keith. I mean, it's probably at Gearfest. This guy's decided to go modular in his car. I said that in Discord. This reminds me. I'm not joking. Of when I was installing a custom stereo system. I used to have an old diesel BMW X5, one of the first model that ever came out, and I absolutely could not stand the stereo system in it. So I pulled the whole thing out, and I put a Fujitsu touchscreen navigation thing in there and everything, and I had to make a custom cradle for it and all this sort of stuff. And I had wires like this hanging out everywhere, and I just couldn't use the car for about a week while I was trying to install the thing.
That brings back memories of me working on my car stereo late at night at home in high school and getting my first time ever getting pulled out of my car at gunpoint by a cop who thought I was stealing my own stuff.
Yeah.
That was a bit scary.
Well, welcome to America.
This guy's trying to hotwire the car, but he can't work out which wires to cross. Right. Don't think you can hotwire cars anymore, guys. Anyway, what else we got?
No.
Oh, this is another Moog dig, this one. Save production costs by moving your factory overseas.
Wow.
Pass savings on to the customer. Well, maybe we might
It should be tumbleweed.
We might just keep them. Yeah, it should be tumbleweed.
It should be ... tumbleweed. Anyone?
The only way they pass savings on
Did anyone forget?
those plugins to go on sale. You know, that's it.
And this one has to be. You guys aren't really going to be able to read this, but let me read it for you. Okay, so this one happened during the week. It was a store in my city called Cosmic Sound, and they literally reached out to social media for this guy, a bit of a knob. He's gone and put a Behringer desktop synth down his trousers and walked out, literally down his trousers. You can actually see it in the photos if you look carefully, and walked out the store with it. They were quite keen to get hold of the name of this guy.
Yeah, because he left without paying, strangely enough. Must have been a complete error.
He carries it well, I have to say. It's,
yeah. I just sometimes memes just write themselves, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah. Do stores do
Sometimes
that
life
in
is
your
comedy.
countries? I don't think I've ever seen. Cosmic have done this before. There was a guitar that went missing a couple of years ago. So, by the way, this Cosmic is not the original Cosmic. If you guys are Perth from my city and you're looking at this, they actually changed ownership probably about three years ago. So the original Cosmic guy, I think he just retired and sold it.
Yeah.
The guys that own it now, I think, are the same owners of Derringers in Adelaide, I believe.
Oh.
So, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the goss that I got.
So stores around here don't normally do that. One thing I did notice, though, being in Chinatown recently, there were some Chinatown stores where they caught people stealing from the store on video, and they actually zoomed in and cropped and had a rogues gallery of faces above the register. Look for these shoppers. They've stolen from the store, which is kind of illegal, I think. But anyway.
There was another one where I went to buy fuel, literally just up the road from me, and they've got a name and shame wall on their and basically it's just number plates. So
this is basically that.
Photos of number plates.
Of course, yes.
Just pictures. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, man. It was the car.
I said to the guy, I don't know if this is cliche or not in your part of the world, but most, service stations, you guys call them garages or whatever you want to call them, they're owned by usually, the subcontinent type people. And I said to this guy, I said, you do realise that 99% of those number plates are probably stolen. And he looked at me and gave me this perplexed look, as if I've just literally said something that he's only just realised is true, and then
you pull the carpet out from underneath.
Yeah, and then proceeded to sort of pretend that he didn't understand anything that I just said.
Yes. Sorry, I don't speak very good Australian. Yeah.
Behringer were smart. They would use this as a marketing thing and say, our synths are so comfortable that you don't need a bag. You just
can
put
fit
them down
your
your pants
pants.
and walk around.
Yeah. All right, that's it. We have how many do we have this week? We have 7 to choose from. So let me refresh your memory. You had turn the ambient music down. You had Kobe with the modular solution, with putting a rubber band around your knob. The Moog Spirit is available if you're at Asheville. Anyway, there's pop music. Pop music. That one's really good for me. There's taking your dash apart and going car modular. Moog trying to save money by moving their factory overseas. And the last one, which is Cosmic Sound, trying to catch the thief that put the Behringer down the trousers. I mean, there's so much to unpack with just that alone. Like, why would you steal it? Why would you put it down your trousers? And I don't know. I'm not even going to keep going with it. It's crazy.
Well,
but anyway.
It was one of their better ones. It was the Neutron.
It was. That is true. It does. Yeah, it does.
I thought it was going
Why
to
would
be
you
something
steal the
sinister,
only
'cause the guy was
non-clone?
with the kid in the picture. I thought you were going to say, oh no, don't say something about the kid. So.
Oh, the wording of that post, you guys can probably track it down on. I don't know if it's still there on Facebook. It's quite funny.
Sarcastic.
It is. It is quite funny. Made our day anyway. It's a copy of that in our Discord. Oh, I should remind you guys, if you are interested in continuing with the show during the week, we do have a Discord server. That is the link there. It's free to join.
I'm in a different place.
Yeah.
It's way down there.
It's down the bottom. Right. So what did we end up with? What did the guys in chat say? What was their favourite? The Moog Spirit.
quite a
Wow,
bit.
pop music.
Pop
Ooh.
music's quite good.
Everyone's liking the
Bottom
pop
of
music one.
band, Modular. Oh my god, it's spread. It's spread. Is there a leader?
Ros Gray's like,
Ooh,
boogie with a suitcase. Pop music. Pop a bearing a module down your pants. Pop music.
Keep
it.
going. Yes.
Pop something.
You guys are laughing at. I think pop
that
music
a-
got it.
Moog?
I think Moog Spirit would probably be a very close second, but I think pop music got it.
Yeah, no, I think pop music got it.
I think Moog Spirit was too dark for people. So.
Yeah. It was just a bit of.
Too personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was more. I could have
If
had
you are
about
Moog.
20 memes this week. I sort of was controlling myself putting them in, so I'll just save them for next week. There was in Discord. There were plenty more, so go check it out. There's a lot of regular people on this show that you will know posting memes in there, and they're actually really, really funny. And it's hard for me to go, what am I going to put in the show? I like to kind of find memes that are topical as well, like current affair type topics, like the Moog ones, okay? Because we know that it's going to, it's going to piss a few people off, and that's the whole point of a meme. It's got to rattle the cage, right? It's got to.
If you don't get a response, you didn't win it. You didn't do it right. So
Exactly. You got to upset the woke people, right?
it's like comedy or art. Yeah.
Damn those woke people.
We like doing that, don't we, Darren? We like upsetting the woke people.
Unmute.
I'm muted. Of
Yeah.
course. Of course.
That's Darren's caper. Right. Speaking of upsetting woke people, we should do some news. Do we? The first cab off the rank. Why is it doing to me every single week, making it difficult for me? First cab off the rank is who's missing from there? Andy. There you go. Is obviously the MPC stems is now available on the Standalone. MPC stems, if you're wondering, is a software algorithm that will separate the bass, the vocals, instruments, and drums out of your music. So you can put commercial music in here. So it doesn't. It's something
More
that a
ways
lot of
to
people
steal music.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people have been sort of ethically talking about at the moment. Well, I don't know. Should the algorithm be checking to see if you've got authority to do this? Anyway, don't worry about it. It's it lets you do it. And the good news now is you can do it on an MPC Live, an MPC X, an MPC One. A couple of little caveats I will mention to you after we watch this video, because I want Andy Max, one of my favourite presenters in the world. He's actually really, really good at what he does. So shout out to Andy. Let's watch what he says about the MPC stems on Standalone on the video, and then we'll come back and have a chat.
In this tutorial, I'm going to guide you through the process of how to install and activate MPC stems, which is now available for your standalone MPC device. Now, the first thing you'll need to do is
What we're not going to do is go through the whole installation, but what I want to do is I want to go to this part of the video where he loads a sample on and shows you how it works. Here we
sample
go.
edit. Let's just select a sample, and now you'll see the stems tab on the sample edit screen. And here you can now enjoy this incredible new feature fully standalone in your MPC. Now, to learn more about MPC stems, head over to Akai Pro.
So that's it. There's nothing really more to tell you in the sense of that, because we've shown MPC stems before on this show. You guys know what it does. Daren is a recipient of me using MPC stems. It works pretty well, doesn't it, Daren? You're muted again, bud.
When I'm muted, yes, it does. It does. But it depends on what you put into it, and like you say, there's a few little caveats to it, because it does find little issues with other things. But basically, yeah, it strips it down quite nicely. whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Whatever it is, yeah, exactly. Okay, so where is my camera gone? There. What I thought we'd do is, I don't know if I can get the screen of my MPC to work.
It's funny, actually. I was watching videos of Av McCree and Accurate Beats and all these guys playing with it and comparing the software version that came out before the embedded version. And the software version, because the PC or Mac has so much more horsepower, is the best way to use it. The onboard one is really anemic. It has so many artifacts and doesn't have the horsepower to really do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to have it in standalone mode because it's, you know, portable gear or whatever. But man, the sound difference is, the quality difference is so crazy.
Yeah.
The software version is the preferred version, and even it has artifacts that are pretty wild. So I've used AI tools online that do a much better job, and some are free. So just keep that in mind. Oh, this is only like $10 or whatever for the software.
Let me just quickly pause you guys there for a sec. People are trying to get into Zoom and they can't work it. Why is that?
So I noticed some of the stem separations sound like, you know, below 128 MP3s. They can sound pretty bad.
That'd be okay if there was an easy way.
It's good for grungy hip hop stuff, you know.
Yeah, but if you could say, look, I made this project using stems on the standalone, and now when I go to the software, can you just re-stem it and then
Zoom
without me
is
having
working.
to start again?
Zoom is working for me.
You'd have to start over with the software, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I expected, but you know,
Yeah.
from a user perspective.
But in that way,
it's-
they're not really
yeah.
stealing if it sounds that bad. I guess it's okay then.
Yeah, it's a grungy. Yes, it's like a
Yeah.
bootleg. Yes.
Keith, you're in the top right hand corner. If you activate your camera, you are you're in that little square over there, top right hand corner. So activate your camera, mate. You should be running. It's not anything my end, and Zoom is working for me. Right. One of the things I wanted to mention. Oh, there he is. Look at that. See, he's working.
Hey.
Your audio's working too, bud.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
We can't hear you.
No, I say good day. I'm in the UK.
While Keith sorts out his audio, what I wanted to quickly mention too, while we're talking about this MPC stems, is two things really, really important to understand on the standalone side of things. Number one is that you must pay for this. It's actually it's a licensed bit of software that you've got to have already. You can, I think it's like $10 US or something like that, $9.99 US or something. It might even be cheaper.
Yeah, it's $10.
You just go into the Akai Pro website and you can pay for it there. So even if you do the firmware update on your MPC, you won't be able to use it unless you've actually paid for it. But you can still see it. Like, so for example, in the video, if I go back to here, and we'll just turn Keith off for a sec. You'll see in this little area here, the MC stem option up the top. You'll see it there. Now, you've got to have it activated, and it's got to be activated through, the Akai Pro portal. So that's how that becomes then part of your MPC hardware, and it's like all the other paid, things like the stage piano, VST, and all that sort of stuff that's in the MPC land. Some of this stuff is really cheap, like $10 for what this does. Daren, would you say $10 is worth it?
Yeah, it would be for me for the little bits I like to lend.
Yeah, it's not available on the
great for
Force
remixing.
yet.
It probably won't be. I think they pretty much abandoned the Force.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sad.
I don't know what they're doing for.
I've got the MPC live here next to me. And
Is that live or live 2?
that's just a live. She's looking a little bit.
Live, okay.
That's not dust, by the way. That's just
Fingerprints.
an old.
Grease.
It's just an old MPC Live.
It's worn out.
2017. So to load a sample, you can just go into places, and we can just find one on my SD card here. And let's do some drum loops. Let's do the famous Led Zeppelin drum loop. Sounds like, I don't know if this is going to come through, is it? I don't want to play that too long, but you guys will know that. Right, so we'll load that one. And then you go into your main menu and you go to sample edit, and then you should hear that. Right, so there is that. Now, because that sample doesn't have any vocals or anything on it, that's not going to be able to do anything special with the stems. But you'll notice up the top here, there's my stem. Why is that going out of focus? Focus, you bastard. There we go. And you can actually, when you create stems, you can actually just select the things that you want. So in this case, I want drums. If you do the other category at the end, what does it do with drums? It literally creates a separate stem for drums. I know, but is it rip it differently because it's listening for spectral stuff, or is it? It's an algorithm, and I feel like it's probably not perfect. So if you're looking at that sort of pure, there are definitely more expensive stemming separation algorithms and free out there too. Yeah. But literally, that is how easy it is. And then once you've done it, it creates separate samples that you can then slice up, dice up. And the whole point of it being on the standalone is that you are able to then manipulate it straight away in your standalone while you're sitting on a park bench, because it's battery powered, as you guys know. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention too is this is an MPC Live 1. I think this has only got 4 gig of RAM in it, if I remember rightly. And the MPC 1s have only got 2 gig of RAM in them. I would not be wanting to have a whole bunch of VST plugins running on this as well as doing stems. It will literally, it'll bag this thing down. You will probably crash your MPC. In the Accurate Beats video, he did like a 5-minute song and tried to stem it, and he ran out of memory. Yeah. I do it on my PC. I've done it for Daren before, and it's no problem at all. And I've got like a 2018 Core i7 PC, and it's fine, right? By the way, did we manage to get Keith working, or is he? He's back out. He's out now. Okay, fair enough. We'll just drop him out. So, like you said before, Andy, if you wanted to do something really kind of convoluted, do it on your PC software version, and then just drop it onto an SD card, bring it in. Yeah. By the way, the software way of doing it is so easy. You just literally drag and drop a sample from your file manager into the MPC software, and then you literally click stems, and it comes up, and it does its thing in the background. I mean, you go get a coffee, you come back, and it's done. I did something like 5 or 6 songs for Daren the other day, and it took, 5-6 minutes to do it. It's pretty quick. So it's not something that you'd want to be doing hundreds and hundreds of songs in at a time. But if you've got something that you definitely want to slice and dice up and separates vocals and things like that, it does a pretty good job. Right. Anyone else want to mention anything about it before we move on to the next? I kind of feel like Akai finished. Go, Daren.
Go on. I was just going to say it's one of those things where if you just want to grab something that's hidden behind a lot of other stuff, it might help you out. Like Andy said, there's probably a lot of better stuff out there, but just as a little convenient thing, if you really, there's something there that's taking your fancy. Not that you should, but you would like to do something with it. It can just be handy. But it just shows you that they're not bothering with the Force anymore. Poor thing. Didn't even make a Force 2.
You never know. They might, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, does it? You never know. They might surprise us. Usually they just come out with a big surprise.
I don't know. That's true. I'm not gonna throw Akai under the bus about the Force, because I kind of you got to be careful about falling into the trap of expecting a company to keep updating something when there's definitely a few things
I'd
on
gone
Force.
past updating, Rans. I wanted the new one. I wanted a Force too.
Here's the problem
Forget
with the
the
Force.
updating.
It was launched unfinished, and it stayed that way for like a year.
Well, I'd say
that's
probably still is,
terrible, right?
Andy. I'd say it probably still
yeah,
is.
I know, but I mean really unfinished. Like they advertise all this shit they didn't give you, and that's just
Oh,
wrong,
I mean, yeah.
right?
But I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it before then. I mean, Darren didn't buy it before then.
Oh, I know.
Darren
A
and
lot of people did though. It was
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
promises.
We got ours kind of when it was more mature. But even still, I
did
would
too, yeah.
I would say that the Force is doing what it's supposed to do, and I think you got
I
to.
love it.
You
Yeah.
can't really fall into the trap of expecting Akai to keep updating something like. But the way I see it with this, like for example, the stems, right, and the all the other Akai things that they've been bringing out, I don't see them really as updates now. I just see them as plugins that you can buy that will add value to your machine. So the stage piano is another example, and the Rhodes and all these different things, and they're not really, in a way, they're not really firmware updates, are they? Truly, they're just things that you can subscribe to, tools you can add to it. That's the way I see it. So yeah, I kind of feel like Darren. I feel like there probably might be a Force 2 in the future, but I reckon they're waiting to see how Push 3 is going to go.
Yeah, I was going to say when Push 3 came out, I think they must have gone. Let's just stick with the MPC for now.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
one other thing about this technology here, this stemming stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of a side note, I've been using some of this vocal remover stuff in movies to pull sound clips out of movies and isolate stuff. It's actually really fun. Some of these AI tools online are free or really cheap, and it's cool to take segments of the movie you like, isolate the vocals and then the dialogue and stuff, and then and play with the audio levels, and you'll hear all this dialogue you never heard before, which is pretty interesting. It's almost like Blade Runner, where you're going through the picture and seeing stuff you didn't think you could see.
Yeah, director's cut.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Darren and I were actually talking about that before. When I was doing some stuff for him, and with that particular artist that I was doing for him, I'm not gonna mention it because it'll give away some stuff that he's doing. We were noticing some peculiarities. We'll call it that. Some idiosyncrasies.
It's weird, right? You feel
that you don't notice.
Yeah,
that you don't notice. And these songs we've listened to, we know very, very well. We've listened to. So it's even if you get stems and just throw a tenor on it, to have a bit of fun with it, just run it in the standalone software.
It's like cool. Rick Beato when he analyzes those "What Makes a Song Great" songs.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you get real stems from people, and you hear all the subtleties, like in a Boston track where he added all these layers that you never heard before. And now that you've heard the layers on his video, you listen to the song and go, "Oh, there's that thing in there," So it's
he
cool.
uses that the Pro Tools one though, doesn't he?
He also gets stems from artists too. They're very clean.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Right. Next on the agenda of news is this little baby, ShowMIDI. ShowMIDI is this cool little GitHub free thing that you can. I don't know. I'll describe it to you like. Have you ever sort of wanted to look at what's going on? You'll like this, Andy, because it's an iPad app, right? You'll like to sort of know what's going on with MIDI, and in this case, you can see this guy's got a screenshot of the Moog to the Linstrument MIDI coming through, and you can visualize it. There's a couple of different screenshots on the GitHub page, and I just really thought it was kind of really interesting, to be fair. Let me just go to the Mac. We can have a little look here. So there was this was the page that other people showed where you could see it shows kind of like an overview, but in a nice kind of more organized way. Does that make sense? Like it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the color coding helps a lot.
Yeah, the color code.
But just tabulated really nicely and just laid out. And I kind of felt like, wow, it's taken 30 years for someone to come up with an idea like this. It's pretty cool.
I have more primitive things like this on iPad, but it's nice to see this. I haven't seen this one before.
So, as I always say in the show, if you are interested in anything that you see on the news segment and any of the other segments, there is the blog article that you can see down the bottom of the screen linked below. It's also linked in the video description that you're watching, and you can, and usually within about a day of the video airing, I'll have that blog article up, and you can click on any of the links and watch any of the videos, download any of the photos that we show, and any of the segments too. So, who's actually done that, by the way? Just out of curiosity, I don't know if I'm just doing it for myself, or if it actually.
I look at it; it's good.
Does it actually work?
Good.
Yeah. Good. Cool. Right.
Definitely check it out regularly.
Check out. But anyway, check out the GitHub ShowMIDI. The author is a guy called G. Bevan. So big shout out to him. And he has, I believe he's put some MPE stuff into this as well. Cool. So that might be of interest, because you might have noticed that he's got...
Ian will definitely be interested then.
Yeah.
It's not that Geert Bevan guy, is it?
Might be. Yeah.
Or Hert, or however you say his name.
Yeah, it might actually be him, yeah. He's quite well known.
I know he's a big MIDI guy, and MPE and stuff like that. So.
There's an animation actually on the GitHub page which kind of shows kind of stuff going on, right?
Yeah, it's a conventional time-stamped.
So the one on the left
style
is,
the one on the right's nicer. Yeah,
the one on the left is what you're normally seeing. Okay, the one on the right is what you're seeing on his app. So yeah, pretty cool. And especially
just confirmed it is free. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, especially considering it's free. What else do we have this week to show? I think we need to show this, don't we?
Oh, look at that.
Chris, is this the thing that you've ordered?
No, this isn't the thing that I've ordered.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just
FlatSix
discovered it.
ARPs in CV are an interesting thing. Before we get into this, I just want to kind of have a tiny little sort of mini semi-rant about ARP in CV.
Oh.
Don't expect arpeggiators in CV to work the same as arpeggiators in workstations or big Roland groove boxes. They're challenged CV arpeggiators because, especially if they're challenged and it's monophonic, obviously that's going to make it quite challenging indeed. But they're challenged in the sense that they don't have any control. They don't have any control over the voicing structure that it's going to be sending its notes, clock, gates, and things to, right? CV, pitch per octaves, because that's going to be an external thing. It's going to be an external envelope controller. It's going to be an external oscillator filter and all that sort of stuff. And it's got a lot of challenges in that sense alone. So I've got an arpeggiator, which is CV controlled by 2HP. Works beautifully. But I never ever use it very much because I feel the MIDI world of arpeggiators just kicks ass. Okay. Yeah. But having said that, with that as the challenge before us, let's check out this product and see if it meets it.
Another good reason to get it €1.
Love the Jove. Such a good module that. Oh, there.
There's an Ornaments of Crime on the left.
Hell yeah.
Quite like that.
I like that video because he demonstrates the product. We can hear him playing it. We don't need to be
It's musical.
It's musical, which is what it's supposed to be doing. It's actually well done to FlatSix for that video, by the way.
What's it called?
Good video.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about this product because I don't know if this is fact or not, but I do believe this may be one of those 1U models that you can rotate and it becomes a 3U. It just depends on the length of the 1U. If it actually has the same length that you can actually rotate it.
It looks
around.
like it's the right length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. If that's the case, then that's really cool because there are a few that have done this in the past, and I think that's quite genius in doing that.
Yeah, it's nice when you can do it.
What are the kind of limitations of doing arpeggiators with CV, Chris? Did you pick it up in the video?
Nah, I don't think I did pick it up. So you can educate me, Rance. Tell me.
Well,
Tell me what I missed.
It's probably possibly the way you develop it, I guess, would be, that would come out. I mean, you could use an Ornaments and Crime and have an arpeggiator in that if you wanted to.
Very real time with it.
This one is more with the keyboard, which I like. And also, I'm under the impression that you can actually use that literally just to send CV pitch per octave as well.
You can, but there's also another module that's just the keyboard.
Right.
So the one on the right. See how the keys are inversed?
Yep.
The one on the right. So they have slightly different front panel. The one on the right is basically a CV keyboard in your 1U.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So he was using that to drive the bass line pitch, and on the left he was entering in the arpeggio notes. Sometimes he was entering them as a chord, traditional, and sometimes he was entering them in sequentially. So
I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought the thing on the right was also arpeggiator. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think the one on the right is just a keyboard. So he was entering.
Okay.
So sometimes you saw him like he changed it to 8 notes or something because that's what that rotary on the left does. And then he types in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and some of the notes were repeats. Mm-hmm. And the arpeggiator goes, right, that's a new note sequence. I'm going to play that as an arpeggio. Mm-hmm. That's one of the new things about it, and what I thought was quite unique about it. So there's, so rather than just holding down a chord, which means you need a whole heap of fingers, you can enter them in sequentially. So it kind of gets into sequential sequencing interfaces.
But in a performing point of view, that is actually really cool because you can evolve your arpeggiator as it's playing. So that arpeggiator is looping through the note array, right? And then if you make some changes on the fly, it's going to, slightly adjust itself as you're doing that. So this is this is the trick of this pony. Is basically it's an evolving sequential type arpeggiator, which is what they say.
It solves the basic issue of most modular arpeggiators being a set and forget type device, or a device that you can at least CV control with 1 or 2 inputs. They changed it to me more like it is in the MIDI world, as you said before, whereby it's always been driven by the keyboard because that's quite a well-resolved and, as you said, it kicks ass.
Yep.
So what these guys have done is basically said, no, we're going to put a keyboard in this thing. That's like the first thing we're going to get right.
Yeah.
So
how he's done this, out of curiosity, by the way, is he's used the shift register similarities to the Turing machine. So that if you guys are interested in the kind of the engineering part of this, it's basically a buffer approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And pretty much like you said, Chris, this is not an arpeggiator where you typically play chords, right? It's like you said, it's an individual note, pattern predefined kind of way of doing it. But that means, and that buffer variable side of it means that that's manipulated as well. So that's kind of giving you flexibility. I don't know, like one of the things I used to like to do, in my early days when I started learning about arpeggiators and synths and stuff, is I used to like to play them. So I would have an arpeggiator running constantly, and I would play that arpeggiator by just adjusting the chord.
As played.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's done it. Okay, so the I guess there's a couple
But not every arpeggiator has an as played mode, right? So.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that this has got. You can do 4 octaves of control from C0 note to C4. It has a 6-note buffer with 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 16. It has 5 playback modes: forward, back, excluding ping pong, including ping pong. So that means excluding ping pong means that when it gets to the top, it doesn't repeat the top. Yeah. And when it gets to the bottom, it doesn't repeat.
And the other one doesn't.
Yeah. And then you've got random, which would probably be, if he's using Turing machine, I'm hoping it'll be a Turing type random. That'd be good. Anyway, you've noticed on the module itself, I'll go back to the graph, that it has clock and CV, and there's your little notes pot on the left, and calibration mode for tuning as well. It does come pre-calibrated. Like I said before, I do believe you can rotate this thing and make it a 3U module, and it would still be pretty handy as a 3U as well. Price was limited stock, he says on his website, but I'm going to tell you the price. It is on Reverb at $347 Australian, which is, what's that? Probably about 250, 220 US or something like that. Probably around about that anyway. So you can buy it off of Reverb right now. Daren, have you ever used an arpeggiator on Eurorack? What are your thoughts on it?
I haven't. No, I've never used an arpeggiator on Eurorack. In fact, I've actually even got one. Let me have a quick whiz. Shows you last time I used my Eurorack. Nope, I haven't got one.
Okay. Module that you were talking about, Chris, before is called Sleight of Hand, the one that's on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, if you've got a key step,
a couple of things as well.
If you've got a key step, I'm sure we've all played arpeggios on a key step while its CV is plugged into something in the modular. So gives you some idea of.
It's not quite the same. Yeah, I kind of feel like, but even with the key step, you can actually manipulate the key steps arpeggiator by. They did a firmware update to it. I remember it, and there was
transpose
and going up and down an octave, and you could add notes in that way as well.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit more intelligent than your standard mash a bunch of keys and it sends out the notes in sequence. Yeah.
It was a bit more than basic.
Yeah. I kind of like this. I'm starting to see the benefits of a 1 euro. But it's too late for me.
Plus that one makes more sense on the. Plus that one makes more sense on the bottom. So you want it under. So I'd have to turn all of my racks upside down.
All the electrodes are going to fall out, and everything else that's not screwed in.
I used up all my all my 1U space with 1U 3U converters.
Yeah,
those where you can rotate them. And they're handy, man. They took up all my 1U space.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. By the way, it is IntelliGel, if you're wondering. So I think someone mentioned in the chat which 1U is it. It's IntelliGel 1U, which I feel is the way most should be heading now, because I feel it's the right.
It's better.
It's the right spec For those people,
You can wedge
wondering.
the other standard into IntelliGel and overlap it, but so it looks dumb, but it actually does work.
Yeah, you end
do
up
need
having modules
you need the
looking
power
like that.
harness though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a slight angle, but you have to also convert the power harness. And I got the guy on Etsy was making these converters to do that. So
yeah. Anyway, I'm a big fan of arpeggiators, as you guys know, and I just kind of feel like that's a pretty cool bit of control voltage fun to play with. It's definitely much better than the 2 HP version I've got, which I feel like, yeah, maybe I should sell that and buy this. I don't know.
well, that 2 HP is USB only, right?
No, my 2 HP one is completely CV.
I'm thinking of the MIDI. Maybe the MIDI one is USB only.
Yeah.
The 2 HP MIDI module is USB.
Yep. Okay, what else do we have? This, which we kind of leaked, and leaked. Yeah.
Slowly leaked itself out.
It did.
Yeah, the store leaked it, right? Didn't the store leak it out? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have a little bit of a look at the Moog video at the start. In fact, I might just bring it into here instead, and we can talk about it while it's playing. This video, I think, has got the various different artists playing, so I'll probably get a copyright claim.
Yeah.
If I do this, so I don't know if I want to do that, but
Yeah,
what I do want to
maybe-
show.
Andrew Wong one goes
introduc-
into some nuts and bolts.
Yeah, I don't want to show his stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
Andrew.
I
But
know.
I kind of
I know it's
thought,
an aesthetic thing. So.
yeah, I kind of thought this was actually kind of a nice video though, because you had about 4 or 5 different artists.
Yeah, different
interpret this
styles
thing.
and music. Yeah,
Yeah.
different interpretations of how to use it.
The only thing I will say, I guess, against this style of video is it's confusing in a sense, because this is the first video that Moog released officially about this product. I mean, then there's subsequent how-to videos type thing, but a lot of the music that's in this is layered. So you've got even the B&H video that was out, it's all layered. So you can't actually
It's not clear.
Yeah. You can't
It's
work
not
out
clear
what
the instrument is doing.
Yep.
I've seen some videos where they do have complex song in there, but what they do is that they break down. They actually break down to just the instrument, and so you can hear what the instrument's doing, and then they come back in with the main track. I find that's a better technique, video technique.
That's the only reason I mentioned the Andrew Wong video, because he does really play the instrument, and you hear it just as the instrument.
Oh, and the rest of the videos that came from Moog after this one do that as well.
Loop Pop has it too. Loop Pop has a video.
Yeah, Loop Pop has it as well.
I kind of felt like it was deliberate though, the different artists that they chose. Deliberate in the sense of, I felt not music style, but I felt connectivity was their deliberate sort of aim. What they wanted to show is how this is connected to various different things. So they had electrons, they had guitar pedals, they had eurorack, they had digital stuff. So I kind of felt it was very deliberate. You guys might remember when we were talking about this thing a while. Was it the last show? I don't know, when we talked about them releasing another one, and there was all this NDA talk about how they saw this as a sneak peek at Super Booth and things like that. I mean, it's basically it's quite FM-y in a way, isn't it? This thing, so it's a real play.
It's
on
a
it.
weird mix of Mother 32, Zero Coast, and subharmonica.
It's like Moog's greatest hits or mini hits.
Yeah.
I guess you could say in all their mini synths, they're basically taken.
But
the
it's not
coolest
as West
stuff
Coast
out
as
of
they
it.
claim it is. Yeah,
No,
it's mostly
Not quite.
the low pass gate, I think, and a wave folder is about it. Or is that? Does it even have a low pass gate? I forgot if it does or not.
No, it doesn't have a low pass gate. It has
Doesn't have a low
multi-mode
pass
filter.
gate. No.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't have complex oscillators, so it's basically just
No,
the wave folder, right?
wave folder, and that's the thing. There's a little bit of they kind of allude to some of the gain staging being a little bit,
Yeah.
West Coast, or is it? Yeah. And it does have the ring mod, which isn't really, but is,
Yeah.
cross mod, ring mod, FM. They're all non-classic Moogie things, though, so I'll give them
But
credit.
the sequencing section is really cool. It's fun.
Good pick up, Andy, because you've got two generative sequences in this, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Korg stuff, like the Radius, right? The Radius used to have two different sequences in it, where you could sequence modulation and you could sequence notes, right? So this is kind of not a new thing.
You can shift the whole thing like that, and
when you see companies use these tricks and they use it in a different way, it's not necessarily a new thing that they're introducing, but it's a handy tool to have in this particular device, if that makes sense. Polymetric is important for this, I believe, because that sort of sits in well with their other desktop modular products as well. Do we want to talk about the little corrupting bits and pieces, all that sort of stuff?
The randomness stuff.
Yeah, we could talk about, I mean, for the modular people out here, they're probably well familiar with the Turing machine. And I've seen it compared to the Turing machine, or they've seen it compared to two Turing machines in your rack. This is slightly different, though. I had a bit of a look. The way the knob on the left, the corrupt knob, works on this Moog is different from how it does on the Turing machine. But you kind of get a similar effect. The clever thing, or the unique thing I think about the Moog is the way that the on the left half of the travel of the pot, it only affects the pitches, and it's not until you turn past 12 o'clock that it starts to affect the rhythm also. I thought that was kind of cool, because sometimes you want to keep the rhythm, but you want to change the pitches.
And it's still rule-based, right? You're not totally going off the rails, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of...
It's controllable, yeah.
Yeah.
It's controllable, but it's not predictable. So you can't, there's not like... if you're thinking about pseudo-random number generators in computing science, you can't exactly seed this thing and get the same result every time. You definitely can't. It's definitely... Well, I think Loop Pop said it quite well when he said this is a machine you want to be recording all the time.
Yeah.
Because
I think
you may
all
not
the
be able to
reviews
get
I
back
saw
there.
said that. Yeah, which is modular in general, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a classic kind of, this is speaking to people who've said, oh, no, I don't want to deal with all that modular stuff. I'm not going into that. This is kind of to tempt them into that world a little bit, I feel. I think it's pretty good.
I think
it's a good attempt.
Its closest cousin has to be the O-Coast, right?
Well, except for it's missing some of the key West Coast stuff, though. That's the thing.
That's
the more I got into it, the more I realized, it's not as close to the O-Coast as I thought it was, because it doesn't have the timbral elements of it, except for the wavefold.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like that was deliberate, though. I really did. And
I kind of West Coast, you have to have complex oscillator, wavefolding, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they really want us to get too stuck on the West Coast versus East Coast terminology with this product. I think what they want us to do is, I guess, if you were to sort of look at this as a standalone device, you're going to say, okay, I'm getting a few flavors here from different sort of synthesis technologies, right? And they're doing it in a way like what Chris was saying before. You've got a bit of that Turing algorithm sort of mentality in this. You've got this typical Moog CV and the East Coast sort of analog mentality in this, and then you've got the Buchla flavor with the folding and some of the the FME type stuff that's in it. And it's in a marriage that I kind of feel is kind of unique. So it's one of these products again. Like, I still think the Subharmonicon is unique. I think this is unique.
Yeah.
And what was the one before it that they did?
I would definitely get this if I had the money. I just don't have money.
No, the product
not
just
the
before.
32, the
DFAM. The DFAM.
No, the
DFAM.
Yeah, and I also thought that was very unique. I mean, it was so unique in a way.
This has been used a lot for percussion, so it's almost like the DFAM.
Yeah,
in a way.
This kind of goes in between. Yeah, it's kind of a bit more of a in between, because it's kind of half melodic, half rhythmic.
Yep. They want
Kind
you
of like a blend
to buy their products and hook them up together. So think about the Labyrinth connected up to all the different envelope followers of the subharmonicon. Then the DFAM involved with this as well, and then you've got your Mother 32, and you've also got the other thing.
You got Mavis, which is a desktop unit.
So they want you to interconnect. They're doing that on purpose. So if you're looking at this as, I'll just buy this, it's going to be fun, but there will be a limitation point to a while where you'll start to go, hang on a minute, if I get this other Moog product and I put it with this, now I'm going in a different direction. So it's clever in that sense, right? It's clever.
I'm curious to see how Behringer tries to rip this one off.
And how long? Because
they've got
they've
got a different company now that owns them, right? And they might have a bigger lawyer team.
Yes, they might have a different attitude.
Yeah,
they don't have the spirit store to fight with, right? So they,
Mind you, though, just remember, every time you go, I mean, I've said this before. Every time I used to fly to Singapore in the 80s, there was, you watch a James Bond movie, and that watch was literally on the street within a month for $50, right? So they will find a way to copy it. Someone will find a way to copy it. It's just in a way, it's greatest form of flattery, isn't it? If someone wants to copy you,
kind of.
Yeah, maybe not.
I mean, you could use the the great artist Steele thing that what's his face said.
Good artists. Good artists.
Good artists,
Bad
great
artists.
artist Steele. It's Picasso, right? Isn't that Picasso who said that?
Great artist Steele.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is now. You got me. I thought I knew it, but I forgot as well.
I purposely didn't show the Sonic Wear thing this week because I think just watch Pro Synth Network last night. I think you guys will get enough information from those guys about it. I also, to be fair, other than watching a couple of videos, which is probably what all of us have done, I didn't really have enough time to deep dive into it because of my personal life, what's going on. But I spent a lot more time looking at the Labyrinth, because that's just what I chose to do. But having said that, it doesn't mean that we can't revisit this Sonic Wear product next week when I've had a bit more chance to sort of swallow it and embrace it a bit more. I'm not a massive fan of you probably not noticed this with me, of droney type sort of synthy generator things, because I kind of feel like you can do that with a bit of thought without too much.
We're trying to make it turnkey for people who want to explore and not set much shit up. So
that's just all I'll sort of say at this stage. But I'm interested to see how they've done it and how they've implemented it. I just don't know enough about it at this stage anyway. We've shown a lot of product over the years on this show, which has gone down the rabbit hole of drone and ambient type generative type systems. And I have to say, I haven't really seen any that really has kicked a massive goal in the sense of, everyone's got one on
like
their
Lyra
desk.
8's often used for drones, but it does so much more.
Yeah.
In fairness to the Sonic Wear product, it's not just drone synth. It's meant to be ambient, so it does head more into the melodic, controllable melodic territory, not just So that's one of the reasons why
noise and FM and
like I said, not my sort of area, but like look at there's Andy Synchrotron in the chat. He does his own drones. That's the way to do it. Look, go watch his videos. The way he sets up his drone. That to me is more. Don't buy a box that does it. Don't buy a Eurorack module that does it. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not saying. I shouldn't say don't, but try and come up with a way of doing it yourself.
Like the shoegaze guys, they do drones with guitars and stuff. So.
Yeah, you
could do it a lot of.
50,
it is, and it
50
is a lot more
reverb tails.
I'm sure it's a lot more fun and satisfying actually building it from the ground up. But guilty of
as soon as you start
being
freezing
interested
the reverb, then there you go.
Yeah, and then feed it back Darren. Then feed the freeze back into something.
Yes.
And then you've got, you just
And some delay.
you just press record,
And then
and then you go out to lunch with the wife and come back, press stop. Oh yeah, there's about 4 hours of music. Let's publish that on.
Hey, some of that
Good
stuff
to go.
does really well on YouTube. 4 hours of Pacific.
I use
Slowly
sometimes
evolving.
I use those generative things for my microscope shows because they just do like 4 or 5 hours of music without me thinking. It just go through some
I'm kidding.
weird
by the way, guys.
permutations, and it's copyright free. So
Yeah. Okay. That's it. So that's it for products this week. There were a few other little bits and pieces that were floating around, but I just thought, I really thought the NPC stuff was, being the fact that it's on Standalone, is a big tick for me anyway, personally. You guys probably aren't the biggest NPC community here, but oh my god, you should see how big NPCs are in the DJ, the rap world. It is huge. It's huge.
It's to me, it's as big as Ableton is to that world.
Yeah.
it's always a massive
Like
booth
it's
at NAMM.
ubiquitous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
hence the
and
reason
I
why
must-
they've left the Force to one side.
Yeah.
It's definite, Darren. I mean, the Force was
Well, the
kind of like
NPC
a
guys are
side
confused
project.
by the Force. There are too many pads. They go, I don't know what to do here. There are too many pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just need 16 to
And they're
hit.
not rubbery.
Exactly. They just want the old school stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's something
well,
about
the Force's
NPCs.
Akai's attempt at making Ableton as a hardware product, and in that sense, it's a bit.
Well,
of
and you see a guy like Nick Trakakis who made it a proper instrument where he's using all 64 pads. It's amazing. Right?
Yeah.
You can't do that on an NPC.
Yep. Okay, next segment so Andy, I'm going to get you to join in on this because a couple of these are yours, okay? And that's Price Watch. So let's roll the stinger.
Radio.
And sometimes I say to you each week that there's always scams on this segment. And when I say scams, I mean like, all we mean is that someone's asking too much for something. Now, in this particular example, it is not. It's not a scam. You might think it is. I mean, that's Australian dollars, halve it if you're in the UK. So it's
I saw that one, yeah.
yeah, it's about £5,500. A TB303 is probably going to sell for that these days. To be fair, these things are, and this particular one is actually really quite complete when you look at it. So this is actually on Reverb. This one's in the Netherlands. So if you're in that part of the world, you may want to look at this. The reason why you'd probably want to spend this sort of money on this particular one is because you've got the original box, the original case, all of the manuals, the original calculator, and the actual unit itself is actually in really.
Oh, I never
really
saw
good
the
nick.
calculator before. That's interesting.
Yeah, they came with the boutique as well. Those calculator things.
Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't get mine with mine.
yeah, you should have.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it should be in your box.
They screwed me.
They screwed
I'll
you.
double check.
Yeah. So this is why this one's £5,500 because it's got all the trimmings. If you buy a TB303, in most cases you're lucky if you get a very clean unit itself, just on its own right. But this has got all the other bits and pieces in it. So yeah, look, it's not something that I really care about. I mean, I just think it's stupid money, really. But I'm not saying it's not worth it because people would pay that. This is probably for someone who wants to collect, I feel.
Yeah, I know people who take originals out on the road and it's nuts, but that's what they love to use. They want the real sound. So
Yeah. I mean, this is in really, really good nick. This thing.
yeah, and you never see
I like-
those cases. They're all cracked and messed up. And,
Yeah.
Oh, look at that little guy.
Yeah, that's
Does
the
look
calculator.
really great.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the manual's seen sunlight ever. It's pretty good.
So big shout out to Mark in the Netherlands. Hopefully he gets his 11,000 Aussie for that. Now, this next one I believe is from you, Andy, if I think it's going to be the next one coming up. It should be the SH101. That's from you.
I can't remember if we showed this one before or not, but I think it's funny. It's all blinged out.
Okay, we have shown it before, but it doesn't mean, right? I think this thing's getting around. We've definitely shown this, haven't we, Daren? This is the gold.
We've definitely shown this.
Golden, what is it? Black and gold finished.
We have seen this before.
Yeah. So this person, whoever he is in Canada, has bought this off of the last person that we showed.
It's the Donald Trump model, has his aesthetic on it. So
yeah. This one is also on Reverb, and we'll do
synths great again.
I mean, look, it's not for me, but someone might like the look of it. Either that, or maybe it's the same guy and he decided to take it off and he's decided to relist it again. I'm not sure.
I could see guys in Chromio using it, because it's got a nice metallic look to it. It's interesting.
Yeah. I'd love it.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's an SH-101, and these are actually really cool to perform with. If you've got a reliable one, they're actually really, really cool to perform with because they're so easy to get a patch set up on them. And they're just
even the boutique one is great. I love the boutique one.
Well, I've got the SH-01A right in front of me here.
Yeah.
And you get poly on that one.
Right there.
But poly.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
So yeah, get yourself a SH-101 black and gold Ghost in the MPC. I don't know really. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue how the NPC's getting and doing it, but that's fine. That's fine. Now, Andy, this one is definitely coming up. This one is definitely yours. Lead the way, please. I think you're going to have fun this one. The Korg Poly 61M.
Oh, isn't that great? Yeah, I love that. I didn't read the description. I just saw it quickly and sent it to you, so I don't know the whole history of it. But who the hell is Marco, right?
Yeah.
And is that part of his costume there? I mean, what is it sitting on? I don't know. It's very intriguing.
Who the hell is Marco?
It's like, well, I suspect there's a language barrier involved.
It's
Someone
a million.
Said, you need to put up Marco's Poly 61. Okay, I'm typing it in now. Marco's Poly 61.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I mean Marco. That
you told me to do that,
guys. This is definitely a scam price. This is $1 million US, 1.5 million Australian.
This looks like the result of a bet to me,
or
something like that, like a dare.
Mate, Reverb would be licking their lips if this thing sold, with the commission that they would earn from it. All right, but that's definitely scammy. That one, I have no idea who Marco is.
Just at the bottom, legendary unit formerly owned by the Marco himself. Like, who the hell is that? Who's Marco?
Yeah, but who's Marco?
It's definitely a joke.
Yeah.
It's the Marco. You should know who that is.
It's the
Loco.
Marco. The magnificent Marco. The one and only Marco. There is only one
Not just
Marco.
any
you know
old
what?
Marco. The Marco.
Steve Elbows has given me the greatest idea, and so did Bert ASIO Head. I'm definitely I'm going to put my Timberwolf back up on Reverb, and I'm going to say Marco's Timberwolf, and I'm going to sell it for 1.5 mil.
Ride the Marco train.
Yeah. Why not?
Have a different colored like cloth in the background, so it's all stylish.
There's only one photo, so you don't even see a photo of Marco.
No,
that's why I think it's
just Marco's wife's dress. Someone
did it as a joke very quickly.
Or Marco's special mods.
Or Marco's crime because they're selling his poly.
I think, I think there's something weird going on with this. No one
would really sell it if they had like a little lock of hair included with it. Marco's actual hair.
Melda Marcos, Philippines. It's come from the Philippines, mate.
With her shoes. You got to
with
pair
her
of shoes.
Yeah, all the shoes around it. That'd be good.
Oh, there's going to be a big thing now, isn't there?
Well, I thought Manny might have known, but he doesn't even know. Anyway.
Yeah, like Angeline. Yeah, that's great. Manny.
I saw a pair of old headphones worn by Marco.
I put this one on here because this is not one of yours, Andy. This is one of mine that I've put on.
No.
Because we talked about the Sonic 6 not that long ago when we were talking about different Moog polyphonic synths. And someone said this was the first one that they brought out.
I think Kent was trashing this one at some point, the Sonic 6.
This particular one, it says in the listing here, this was serviced this year by an ex-Moog employee in Nashville. There are 0 issues. It plays amazing and holds a great tune. Have you actually played a Sonic 6? That does not sound amazing at all.
Yeah. It is portable, though, in a built-in case. Right?
It is,
So,
yeah. You have to have some pretty big muscles to lift it. But yeah, no, it's fine.
And this was owned by Steve-O.
Steve-O.
oh, not Steve-O.
Oh, the other member of the Marco's band, yeah.
Owned by Polo.
See, he doesn't have the fabric in the background. It's not as classy. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Marco owns all these listings. This one is definitely one of yours, Andy.
Oh yeah, isn't that great? I love stuff like this.
This is definitely
This
a
is one of those
scam,
things
people.
Well, there are certain pedals. I was talking to Eddie about this a while back. There are certain pedals that are coveted and super rare, and have gone not this high, but they've gone really, really high, like a couple $1,000s for a pedal, which is nuts. But it's that pedal, and they don't make it anymore. People go crazy for it. So, but yeah, this is insane.
But there's nothing in the description.
Well, it might be another Marco trick, right?
It's
He's
literally
trying a different marketing theme. Yeah.
Look at this, right? There is literally nothing in the description. Let's go down
Yeah.
to the description. Crickets. Nothing.
You have to know what you're
Just
buying.
buy it.
No.
You really want to.
Buy it.
No
Or
low,
else.
no lowball offers. I know what I got.
Do you know what? You could pick up a DD100. I reckon I could probably find one of these.
But there's certain pedal models, I forgot them now, but like distortion models that are coveted, and there are only a handful of them out there, and you see them show up, and they are consistently very expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one on Reverb right now.
$8,000 one time was one of them. It's just crazy.
Look, let's just do this because I just think you guys need to have the biggest laugh ever. Right, there's one on Reverb right now. Let's get Reverb up and we'll go Yamaha DD100. Full screen it. That's how much you should be paying for a DD100 pedal, people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somewhere
It's quite
between
different.
US $38 to maybe US $70. There's your
Rance,
answer.
I think you need to hit that sample. The
Ah,
one from the castle.
yes.
Tell me, streaming.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's this one here.
Telling me, Rain.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, with the
Blinged
reverb.
it up a bit.
Yeah, with the reverb.
It
with the
had
delay, sorry.
delay in it.
Yeah.
Very good. How topical.
Yeah.
You need to edit, so tell Marco he's dreaming.
Yeah. And what else have we got? And this next one is also one of yours, Andy, so go ahead.
Oh, isn't that crazy? I've never seen a whole setup like this before.
Wow.
That's nuts. Yeah.
So
it's,
this is
I've-
a double
I played a
profit.
Prophet 10, but I've never...
No, it's a
a
double
Prophet
profit
20,
10,
yeah.
right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
it's nuts.
So what that means is you get the two. I mean, the Prophet 10 always had the two keyboards, right? But then you get that second layer of the controls. I guess that's kind of what they're trying to say here.
And this Restored By company has been showing up a lot on the searches, so there must be some up and coming,
Mm.
I don't know
But-
who VS and Co. are, but
But notice the price drop. So it was originally $229,000 US, and
Exactly,
they've dropped $189,000 off the price.
that's another reason why I sent it. It's a unique item, but also the price is crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm happy just to take the savings. If you're gonna just give it to me, I'll take it.
Yes. It's either that or a house. Yeah.
I wanted to change my name to National Debt one stage because at least I have some money. Right. The next one is this one, which is also one of yours, Andy.
Another expensive one. Look how crazy that thing got. Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Well, started off at 100,000. It's only down to 90 now.
Exactly. Yeah.
12% saving.
But it has
there.
the keyboard.
It
It
does.
has the keyboard with it, so
It's a 3010 keyboard. This was the thing that was at NAMM, right?
Yep. Yes. This is the thing behind the glass case.
Yeah. Not this particular one.
No,
because this one is actually
recreation.
This one is sitting in Spain at the moment, and big shout out to all my Spain viewers, by the way, especially from Boadilla del Monte.
See.
Yeah, sí, señor.
He knows Marco too.
He probably does. Probably knows Eddie. Big shout out to Eddie, by the way, because I know Eddie watches the show. Yeah. For you guys that don't know anything about the Korg PS3300, it is actually a polyphonic synth. I know it says it there, but quick quiz in chat. What is the Korg PS3300 polyphonic voice based on? Ooh.
It's a string synth, right?
Ooh. Can anyone work it out?
According to Ken, it was basically a string synth with really nice filters.
And how many voices is it? If anyone knows in chat.
Don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
Is it divide down? Is it? Are you sure?
Think so.
Quick, Google it, people. Someone's saying MS-20. Nope.
There's MS-20 filters.
There's MS-20, ideas in
Or
it.
like filters. Yeah.
We go. The 3300 is based on the 3100.
VCO, yes. Marco's very good.
Marco's VCO.
Exactly, yes. It's a Marco
Marco's
VCO,
everywhere.
of course.
You can retitle this the Marco episode. So
Yeah, Marco's special episode. They were good, Andy. Thanks for sharing those with us. They were really,
yeah,
really
no
good.
worries. Found some crazy ones for sure.
There was some others that
prices
you
are
gave me,
outrageous.
but we'll shove those off to next week
save
if
them,
we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I added a couple in because I wanted to anyway. I always really enjoy seeing a TB303 for sale used because in a way, I don't know. When I started becoming interested in the TB303, it was probably around the late 80s, right? And if I was smart enough, I probably could have picked one up for next to nothing. Someone probably would have given me one for free because anyone who actually had one at that stage probably thought this is a piece of junk, plastic rubbish. But I never ever did. I wasn't smart enough to get one.
Well,
I'll tell you how
most people
smart I
just
am.
Toss it aside.
This is
Doesn't
how
sound
smart
like
I
a
am,
bass,
Andy.
right?
Andy, this is how smart I am. I actually had a Dr. Rhythm, right, the analog one. And I couldn't pay my phone bill, so I took it down to the local pawn shop and got $100 for my Dr. Rhythm. And
Is this the 202 or is this the?
This was the
'Cause
original.
I have a 202.
Yeah.
Okay,
Original,
on the
okay.
110.
I'll show you the photo.
Was it just called Dr. Rhythm?
No, it wasn't the digital one. It was the analog one.
So I have one of those. Forgot which one it is exactly. I think it's
I
the
can't find the photo off the top of my head now.
Dr. Rhythm 202.
Is it the 110?
or something, I don't know.
I thought it was the 110, but
110s are great. I like the 110
Is it the
with
110?
the pictures of the drum on it. Yeah. It's a
Believe
606
yeah.
basically in a little
Yeah.
friendly
it's the one.
box.
I'm pretty sure it was. Maybe it was the 220.
You have a picture of a cymbal and a picture of a drum and a picture of a...
Yeah,
It might-
pictures. Symbol,
It
yeah.
might have been the
Hi-hats.
220 that I had. Was it 220 analog?
Maraca. Whisk.
Yeah, I have a few of those. I
Cowbell.
can't remember all of them, but pull them out once in a while.
I think it was the 110. Anyway, I can't find a picture. You guys can Google it. Yeah. So stupidity of not knowing. I mean, we didn't have time machines back in those days, did we?
Exactly.
I mean, I got one of those for
You weren't-
$100.
And you weren't
about-
clairvoyant, yes.
Mine was like $100 about 7 years ago, maybe. So I don't know what they're worth now, but
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, what was there? The TB303. There was an SH101. There was Marco's. I think Marco's got to win at shits. That was hilarious. Marco's called Poly 6.
He's the man.
That's the one, right?
yeah.
He gets around
Yeah.
that.
Have you
Marco.
guys played Marco Polo in the swimming pool? Surely you guys
Oh,
have
yeah.
played that game.
Polo.
Marco
Yep.
Polo.
People cheat all the time, fish out of water.
Yeah. Fish out of water.
You're peeking.
Yeah. Oh, everyone peaks, don't they? Everybody peaks.
Who pissed in the pool?
I don't know about that one, Chris.
Oh, okay. It was just me.
Was it all orange? Oh, God.
Well, you can do that because the guy doing Marco Polo isn't looking, so you can just piss right in the pool.
Exactly. That's what we always expected.
I think he's
There's a
pissing
warm patch.
in the pool of reverb right now. Where's my mouse gone?
He should have just signed it as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah, some like fancy signature on Marco.
when you guys see a lot of, I know there's people that watch this show and they see us with gear and they think, oh my God, how much gear have you guys got? Oh, I can't afford. Don't worry. There's times where we are fiscally challenged, like the time at the moment for me. I've been fiscally challenged probably for the last couple of years.
No money now.
Probably because we're buying gear. But anyway, there's a little thing called patience. And Chris, how long have I been waiting for an Ornaments and Crime? Because I think I remember talking about building one.
Yeah, at least 12 months, possibly.
At least 12 months. Well, anyway, you just have to be patient because if you look on your local, one of the groups that I'm
Marketplace,
really good fan of, and I always shout out to them quite regularly on the shows, is a Facebook group called Aussie Wigglers. Now, you can only be an Aussie to be in it, so unfortunately for anyone overseas, not for you. But if you are an Australian, they're really...
That's discriminating.
It is, yeah. If you don't like it, Daren, you can write a letter to the I don't give a shit PO Box 100, your capital city. Anyway,
you'd let Marco in, though, wouldn't you?
Marco, he's welcome.
Exactly.
Marco's all right.
Only
Like
guy who's
Marco.
invited, yeah.
He can bring his 1.5 mil with him too. Anyway, used, and it's still got all the stains all over it and everything from the previous user. But there we go, and it does have the latest 1.3 whatever it is firmware on it. So I believe you hold that in for 2 seconds if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I have one like that as well.
Ooh,
Look at that.
it's alive.
All the algorithms.
Have you tried the Lawrence attractors yet? Those are really cool.
I haven't tried anything yet, except for the quarter counter quarter man, whatever it is. The
Lawrence attractors are really cool.
Yeah. The one I want to try is the
Carpenter
Turing thing
machine.
on here. The Turing.
Yeah,
Get 4 Turing machines at once.
Which one's that?
that's cool.
Which one's the Turing machine?
4 times.
I can't remember. There are 4 of them at once in one of the modes.
I don't know. Someone will tell me. Anyway, so the benefit of, if you don't ever know what an Ornaments and Crime is, it is basically, with most of the modules, all of these inputs and outputs here change to various different things that the algorithms, it's got a little computer in it, right? And you can calibrate the CV volts per octave on this thing to do things that you want it to do. But usually it's pretty spot on. And it's a great little toolkit to have in your eurorack for various reasons. Number one is that it's a little bit like a disting in the sense that it's
A fancy disting.
different.
Yeah, it's
different. Yeah,
it's got a bunch of tools that you can use. This particular algorithm that's on it right now is a quantizer, and you can send in 4 different pitch per octave, and it will send out 4 different pitch per octaves. And there's a couple of bells and whistles inside the algorithm itself. And the other cool thing about it is this is not a new thing, but the whole, the whole sort of community behind the Ornaments and Crime with the open source development, and it's
Alternate firmware and stuff like that.
yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, so I picked up this thing for $250 Aussie. Now to buy them brand new, Chris, I think the micros, what are they worth now? About 300, aren't they?
sounds right.
What's
On
that place
Found
called?
Sound, they'd probably sell it for
Found
about that.
Sound. Yep.
I got mine for like 250
300, yeah, 299 or 300.
US.
What would they do?
Something like that. Long time ago.
Ornament and Crime. Surely there's more Ornament and Crime than one Afterlater Audio, one new version. All right, okay, but you're looking at between $350 to $450 for a brand new one. So I probably saved maybe $50 to $100 on this, right?
Depends which variant you get. Some of the third-party builds are cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I went with the micro for a reason, because it doesn't take up a lot of space.
I have a micro, but they're different companies that make the micro.
Yeah. So
like the Afterlater Audio.
Afterlater Audio is a really popular one. Yeah, they get around a bit. This one looks like I don't know. Does anyone recognize it? To me, it looks like a custom build one. So not sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it looks like something that was originally peddled on Etsy.
Yep.
My haunt.
Mine actually says lowercase o underscore uppercase c on it.
Yeah, or the other way around, uppercase O, lowercase c. I've seen as well.
Something like that, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, which I don't mind. And, I mean, changing a graphic on a faceplate is not hard to do either, because you can get Ornaments and Crime faceplates all over the shop. But anyway, so if you're kind of interested in software dev, Ornaments of Crime is a way to go, because you can play with the pick
source.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one obviously is the Disting, which I've got.
Now, Synchrotron made a good point, which was that the Ornaments and Crime doesn't really have audio processing in it.
No, it's just
it's
functions.
Very much, but for that reason, it's more focused on doing a good job of CV. That's kind of its original claim to fame. It was like there was no compromise on the CV generation and processing, whereas
Disting does audio.
Certainly,
stuff.
The originals one, it's a little bit compromised because they're trying to balance both audio and CV.
What I love about the Disting though is I've got my Disting sitting next to my 960 sequencer, and as you know, Chris, I have it sitting next to the 182 with the GP82. So I just think like it, in a way, if I was to say to someone as a beginner, like I want to buy a sequencer, what should I get? I'll just go right, Disting 182 GP82. Or Disting 960, right? Or Disting Behringer 1050. Is that the sequencer, or is it 1037? I forget which one it is. The 2500 version.
Yeah, 2500 version.
Yeah, I think it's 1050.
1051.
1050. Yeah.
1051.
So, but the thing is with Disting, because it's basically two channels. So it works really, really well with that sort of stuff.
2-channel mode,
but
sequences.
With the 960, it's 3 channels, so you may want to use an Ornament and Crime because it's got 4 channels for its quantizer. So now you can see why some of these tools develop into your systems. And for me, I've always wanted to have a flexible module which I can say, right, I need an envelope, and I haven't got one. Bang, I'll just load up the algorithm in Ornaments and Crime, or I'll load it up in Disting. And they're different in a way because they're different algorithms, so it's kind of fun. Or
it's fun, weird stuff too, which is nice. It's just different things to play with.
Yep. I need to get that website up now too. That's what I wanted to show. So if you go to Google and just type in Ornaments and Crime, you will come across this website here. And literally, basically anything to do with that module you can find in here. Like the manual is in here for so I was on Quantermain before. So this is the manual for the algorithm that I've got loaded, and it's so easy to work out what all the buttons and everything does on it. Someone's done this for free, right? They've gone in, they've designed this manual. Do you know what I mean? Like it warms my heart how much effort people have gone to. It's what I loved about Mutable Instruments as well. The same sort of level of coolness was in their stuff as well with Emily. So
cool.
it is cool. I know there's dramas with certain things with them. There are some kind of corners of the teensy, processor that doesn't kind of handle things as well as they like. And they've talked about the new Ornaments and Crime coming out on is it the Teensy 4 or is it the
4?
Teensy? Yeah.
X101 said it was the 4, which also has audio.
Yep.
So
there'll be some new stuff coming out on that, I'm sure, which will be interesting. So what was the Turing one? Do you guys remember? Do you want me to search it?
I think it's just called Quad Turing. But your new firmware may not have it.
Oh, the Quanta main actually has Quad Turing machines in it, so I've actually already loaded that particular one.
Okay, yeah. I haven't touched mine for a while.
Yeah. People are probably saying that in chat. I told you that already. Why didn't you listen to me? I did because I'm not looking at chat. That's why.
So you got to come on the show.
Try and run a show and look at chat at the same time. Try and do that. If you've got, 3 people in chat, and you can do it. But
we don't have our moderators. 3 or 4 people, like some shows.
Exactly. Okay. So basically, in the Turing mode, you can select the mode it's in, and you just literally, where is it? You literally just plug your CV into there. Yep. There's your clocks, and then the bottom is your CV. Cool. Easy. I'm going to have a play with that. That's for sure. And Daren, I'll definitely be marrying that up. Oh, wrong button. I'll be marrying that up with the marbles. I think I kind of feel like get those things talking to each other. Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of mutable instruments, what are our favourite mutable instruments, oscillators or macro oscillators? Because there's been a few different ones, different generations. I know people have sort of preferences. Just curious.
I mean, I have original braids, which is cool, but then Plats came and added stuff to it.
Yeah, Plats would be for me. Bang for buck, Plats, right? Because it's so full of so many options, and it can do DX7 voices now, which is pretty cool. You can load SysX DX7 stuff into it. But I did like, was it the Shruti?
Oh, I have that. Yeah. Somewhere.
Yeah, I did like that.
I know where different filter choices in it.
Yeah.
Where they built it.
Yeah. I've seen some really, really nice music
as well, which is the big.
Elements was the big one, wasn't it? Yeah. The big
Elements was the big version of Rings. Yeah.
Yep. I do like Rings. It's good, it's that Rings. That
good for your ambient stuff. Rings.
Yeah.
They also made MIDI PAL. Do you ever see a MIDI PAL?
Yeah, I've got a MIDI PAL.
Arduino thing.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Yeah.
Got one right here. But he said Chris actually specifically said voices. So
no, I know.
Yeah. No,
it's all interesting.
That's most of them.
Expand it.
Yeah,
Rings, elements.
Chris, you've got the vector thing from Behringer, don't you? Victor, right?
Victor,
which is based on the Prophet VS.
Yep.
So
it's also based on Airplane. What's your vector, Victor?
4 simple.
Roger.
Simple, wavetable, not wavetable, because it's not wavetable since it's vector synthesis.
Do you like it?
Yes, I do. It's
okay,
but it is one of those things where, as I said, it is somewhat one-dimensional. I mean, it's more dimension than a standard oscillator. So that's what's cool about it, is it gives me quite a different set of tones.
Yep. Then I think you're going to like. Well, I mean, you get the Behringer version of Plats because they don't make Plats anymore, right? which is called Brains. I think you'll like Brains.
Well, that's why I went with that's the only reason I would have gone with the Brains, but this Platts one from Sound Study came along, and it was cheaper for me buying it from the States, and I just have to build it, and it's 2 HP less than or is it 4 HP less? It might be 4 HP less. It's a little bit thinner than the Brains. That's the only thing I didn't like about the Brains, is just that it just takes up quite a lot of space.
I got to say, I got one of the smaller Platts, third party
micro Platts. Yeah, that's even
nice,
smaller still.
Man, it's so fiddly.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I didn't go down that route for that reason. I thought no.
The problem
I didn't want to go to
with
full
the
Brains.
the problem with the Platts.
I just got the original Platts.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go old school as well,
Yeah,
close to
yeah,
original as
not me.
possible,
There it is.
without it really being from her lab, so to speak, where she built them. So lovingly put them together.
I've got
Yeah, and that's the marvel.
We'll see if mine turns out that good.
out of the original mutables, I've only got 2 originals. You can put that down, Daren, if you want.
He loves. No, he's doing his workout. Oh, okay.
I've got,
I've
but that
got
was
Tides
really
as
well
well.
hold.
Lifting synths. Oh god, there's a video in that.
I've got marbles and I've
Tides
got clouds.
as well.
They're the 2 that I've got.
Yeah.
And I actually already
I've
own
got clouds as well.
a clone clouds, but I actually have. I have to say that the original clouds actually performs better than the clone.
That's
and
interesting.
I've had conversations with people about it on certain forums, and there's an element of people out there that say you're absolutely off your nut because it shouldn't be any different as long as they've used the same schematics and all that sort of stuff.
Chips and stuff. Yeah.
And then I've said, well, maybe they're not. Maybe they've used a different DAC, or they've used a different, you know, whatever.
I have no cloud. I bought one because
Yeah,
they were going away, so I want to make sure I bought a real clouds. So
That's why I used one as well.
Mine's because mine's a black faceplate, so that's not the original clouds. But I got the original. Well, Tides too. I've got as well.
But original mutable are nice, but they're so damn big. I just don't have cases for all those. I have to buy variants of them. They just take up too much space.
Yeah, you're sort of more into the micro stuff, aren't you, Andy? You like the smaller...
Well, I need the portable stuff. If I'm going to go to an EMOM or something like that, I can't carry around 2 massive cases that need a hand truck and because I have to walk sometimes like 5-6 blocks to the venue with parking and it's got to be mobile. I can't have this massive those giant wall installations people have. I don't have anything like that.
Yeah,
This is why I say EMOMs need to be where there's good parking.
It's good luck. San Francisco's a nightmare. So got to dodge human waste as well. So
Unfortunately, the places where there's good parking are probably the most expensive places to hire out.
Yeah, you're not going to have the events there. That's the thing.
Exactly.
expensive.
I understand that. It's just
Yes, I
it's
know.
great to have good parking to bring your kit.
Yeah.
So the thing that I was looking at the other day was the IntelliGel Atlantics. You guys might remember we showed it when they announced it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I am trying to put some money together to get myself one because I'm a massive SH101 person. Love it. Can't get enough of that sound. And I think it'd be awesome to be in eurorack land. I think it would be really, really cool. It's probably a silly purchase, I know, but I don't know, that thing just, I love IntelliGel stuff. The Sea Legs module is so much fun. I have so much fun with that module. It's look, we all have purchases where we know is it kind of going to be a purchase where it's something that do we really need it? No, we don't. We're doing it because it feels a beautiful place in our heart. That's why we're doing it. We're doing it because it gives
But when you
us
think
inspiration.
about it, if you have a computer with the audio software and everything, you don't really need anything. Before you start, I'm not on about being hardware, but if you go down that route of being able to buy stuff,
yeah. So
it's more than just utility. We're in this game for more than just that. So there's something deeper.
There's actually a little sneak peek that came out during the week. We forgot to talk about this, Chris. There's a phaser on its way out.
Oh, yes, we haven't talked about our friends at Feedback Module.
Yeah. So he hasn't launched it yet, but he's given us a schematic. I think we've got them in the Discord chat.
He's given us a schematic and he's shown us the first PCB, not the control PCB, so we don't know what the layout looks like, but we do know what the PCB itself looks like.
Okay, what we know is that it's got to be
quite big.
It's going to be a System 700 phaser, right? So it's going to be based on the Roland System 700.
6-stage, I can't remember. I've forgotten how many stage. 8
stage. Yep. System 700 is an 8-stage phaser. Look, it's not going to be
dual.
Yeah,
8-stage phaser.
Dual 8-stage phaser. It's not going to be
stereo
as good as. I still think my favorite phaser of all time is the ARP Quadra phaser. Okay. Which is, probably my second favorite was the Moog Labryinth phaser. I really liked it, but I sold it because it was just so much money for me to to not say no to. It was like, wow, okay, yeah, you can have that money. give me the money. You can have the phaser. I don't miss it. The VST version
that
that I've got.
12-stage phaser.
It's 12-stage, yeah. The VST version that I've got it's fine. It does the job if I want to do it.
It is good, yeah.
Yeah,
VSTs are good.
This particular photo that I'm showing you guys now is the actual picture of his circuit diagram of the phaser, so you can actually see the 8 stages there. So is he using linear op amps? Are they the LM? I can't see it. It's hard to see.
Yeah. He's actually in that one. He's just using standard LM324 op amps. So
okay,
they're pretty run of the mill op amps. He uses the 5534s or something. The dual op amps, the 8-dip packages. He always uses that particular op amp because he likes the characteristics. I think it's good noise floor or something. But he favours those. But I believe in this case it's the transistors that give you all the character of the original. So it's the transistors which have to be, matched and all that good stuff that you have to do. And you had to do back in the day, in the 70s. So I think it's getting the transistors that was probably the most difficult thing for them to achieve.
It's quite a nice looking.
But yeah, no,
design,
the op amps. Yeah, it's lovely. But the op amps, ironically, they are such a run-in-the-mill op amp, but that's what was in the original. So it's funny, isn't it?
Well, the fact that it's a System 700. So I'm actually I'm on Modular Grid right now, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll go back to us because we don't need to stare at that all day. I'm just searching for System 700, right? And only 3 modules come up. And 2 are from Frequency Central, which I've mentioned to you guys before. They make really, they're based in the UK. They make some really, really good stuff. One is their state variable filter from the System 700. And the other one's a multi-mode filter. So they haven't done any phases. And the other one is by a System 80 company that we've shown on the show before. These guys are doing the System 700 full analog voice. So they've got the VCO, VCF, VCA, and it's called the 810, and it's a System 700 module, which I never understood why they released that, because you can get a Roland System 700 style eurorack module called the System 500, and it's based on the System 700. System 100M. I don't know which way you want to go. It's a hybrid. What they say in their documentation, it's a hybrid. Yeah. So, yeah, I think this will be a very, very cool phaser to get. It looks like it's gonna be quite a big module though.
Yeah, 16 HP maybe, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So similar size to what that 1-bit digital delay, but nowhere near as deep and as heavy. That was massive, that thing.
Yeah, I ended up selling that.
4 circuit boards. Yeah, I know.
I very rarely sell stuff, but I ended up selling it because I didn't really feel that it's the type of delay, the characteristics of that digital sort of delay sort of thing where it's, it kind of beats, it sort of kind of goes, it beats, it does this kind of weird thing when you give it too much feedback, and it has this very, very small throw where if you go into the delay cycle and then you just kind of give it a bit more, it goes and it has this sort of beating sound, and it really kind of started to annoy me because sometimes you don't want that, and sometimes you do. It might be what you're after, that kind of crazy sort of glitchy, beaty sort of sound that it can do.
Decidedly digital sound.
Yeah, and
anomaly,
you guys will hear it if you go back to my old videos where I was playing around with it. So that's why I got rid of it, because it just wasn't for me. But hey, there's people out there that absolutely love that sort of stuff, and that go for it. I kind of feel like for me, I'm still more of a bucket brigade delay person in that sort of world, and you can, I've got a proper MN 3007 BBD chorus themed by feedback modules here, so I kind of feel like he's going to do a good job with this phaser, because I feel like he understands that side of the analog circuitry well.
I love those crazy feedback washes you get with a proper bucket brigade, where feedback's too high and it gets to the point of exploding your speaker.
Yeah,
and you bring it back a little bit.
Yeah. And I feel like some digital delays can't do that.
No,
some can. I know Digitech one actually could do that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've got a few digital delays. I've got like a TC Electronic one. This is before Behringer owned them, and it kind of started glitching out when you fed it back. Too crazy. It started glitching out. I mean, it was interesting what it did when it glitched out. I just felt like it just didn't know how to handle the bits coming at it. That's probably all it was. It was probably just a processing thing, right? Yeah. But yeah. Those Mogafoga pedals, right? Those modules that you can get for your DAW, seriously, they are so well programmed. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get true analog sound, all that sort of stuff, but they sound really, really good. Don't be too much of an analog purist, right? Because sound is sound, and when you've got it in a mix and you're mixing on a digital audio workstation, it's digital anyway, right? And you've probably got a digital sound card interface on your computer anyway. So
also digital gives you stuff that analog just can't do. So
well, you can go straight to the algorithm, can't you?
Well, just like wavetables, right? FM, proper FM.
Yeah, sampling
kind of stuff. It's you just
bits.
Can't do that with analog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And like I always say, they should both have a place equally in your setup. There shouldn't be a hate between them. That's for sure.
There's a reason why Tangerine Dream use PPG wave all the time, because it has this great range with the warm filters, but the digital coldness, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about DX7s a lot. Like there's one sitting right behind my head there. Look at that. They can sound really creamy. They've got a real, with the way that FM algorithms work, you can actually get them to sound really, really creamy, and to the point where in a mix, you listen to certain sounds, you think, wow, that filter sounds really cool. But it's no filter, it's just an FM sound. And it's just so characteristic.
Well, that's what I was saying,
of
that Chowning thing I went to at Stanford, where they're playing these 60s FM, like really old FM.
All right.
And it's nuts. It doesn't sound as digital as you would expect it to, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. And another thing that I absolutely love that's digital is a super saw. Because the first super saw was Roland's.
Yeah.
What is it? JD.
JP8000.
JP8000.
8000. Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that sound, and that's a digital oscillator, type sound. On the
whole
System
board is
8,
great.
it sounds
JP8000
amazing
is
too.
a lot of fun.
If anyone's got a System 8, the Super Saw on that sounds so good because you can put it through those emulated Jupiter filters, or you can put it through an emulated Juno filter. It sounds so cool. It's really good fun to play with.
Yeah. There are a few hardware synths now that are using super saws in that kind of architecture. I'm sure we saw one at before Super Booth or whatever it was. We saw one at NAMM. Can't remember which one it was, but it was definitely one of them. It was certainly.
Also, don't forget all those
the red
great
one,
GeForce
the Redshift.
emulations.
Is it the Redshift? I think that was the one that had the super saw in it.
Redshift. Is that the name?
Remember something
Redshift.
like that.
Yeah, I think the module, the hardware was called Redshift.
Remember
Maybe
something
someone in the
about
chat will remind us. Yeah.
But speaking of digital, all those
We
GeForce
forget
emulations
to
of
see
analog
so
hardware,
much, Nikki.
and they're actually
Redshift
using FM
6.
as the core.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
FM can sound
Supercritical.
amazingly warm, like they did in the software.
Yeah, I remember it now, Chris. Supercritical Redshift 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the one when it was sort of super saw based. At least one of the oscillator.
Oh, with the
architectures
Demon
was
Core.
super
That's
saw.
right, because the Demon Core oscillator. Didn't they do a Eurorack module with the Demon Core oscillator? I thought they did.
There is something they did.
That was definitely
done
something
Eurorack,
Eurorack that
haven't
they
they?
did, wasn't there? The
Definitely,
Demon Core,
I
yeah, the
think that
Demon
was-
Core oscillator.
yeah.
There it is. There.
There you go.
Pretty sure that's a Eurorack module. There it is. Yep.
There it is.
There it is. Yep.
Oh, look at that. Lots of voices. Yeah, it's a super saw.
Yeah,
Or super anything, probably.
and it's probably.
Swarm oscillators is what I would call them as a class of.
See, I like that. I would
Oscillator.
like that module. For me, that fits in with my, sonic palette that I'm interested in. Displaying in my music. So I could see definitely a place in my setup for that.
Can see that in your future.
But I think the Atlantics will come first. That's for sure.
Yes, as I said, I was close to pushing a button on one as well, Rant, so I do understand the pull.
The problem is $699 US just pips over the $1,000 Australian mark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if our
yeah,
dollar
same
goes
thing.
up in value, it'll pip under the $1,000. And when it does pip under, we don't have to pay an import duty tax on it.
Yeah.
All we have to do is just pay GST.
Yep. Over 500 it's GST, but about over 1,000 it's import tax, yeah.
Yeah.
Confusing Australia
is.
tax.
The only thing I'm trying to work out is does
That's
the
what
import
it's
duty
like,
tax base on the price with the shipping and the GST? Because you know what they're like. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, it depends on who's in the office at the customs department on the day. That was what I understood it was, how it works.
Okay. But maybe you should
We're
ask.
used to it.
I should ask IntelliJoy to send me a DIY kit version of it, and make it half the price or something. I'm definitely up for that.
Parts for, it's not a synth, it's a part. It's parts. It's just parts for
parts.
something. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they love taxing you on parts as well. I said, "What's the parts? What kind of car is it for? We're taxing you for that." Yeah, you can't get. Used to be able to get away with that, but now they want tax on everything.
Exactly.
Anything they can get it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I guess the shops who are going to stock stuff like that are going to have to deal with that and pass the costs on to us in some form. So, when it lands here, for a regular retail, it's probably going to be just as expensive. But the difference is, it depends on when they bought it and what the dollar exchange rate was when they bought it. And with us, we get a bit more control over that if we can wait.
Well, it's $1,249 if you buy it from Found Sound.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. When you think about what you're talking about, which is the fluctuations in the Australian dollar changing with the tax law, how do they deal with that? They probably import so many thousands of dollars of things at the same time that they're always paying a fixed amount of tax, and they know what that's going to be. So they know how much.
$250. That's what I reckon.
Well, that's my point. That's how they. So that whatever the fluctuations in dollar are, they're immune to it because they're always going to pay the same amount. Whereas us, it's something we can kind of play with to try and get a better deal. But it's a game. It is a game.
So with that, it depends on the type of company that you're dealing with. Like, I mean, you're a small manufacturer, so if you grew to an IntelliGel sort of size, right, there might be a stage where you can go, right, I can offer wholesale prices to shops who buy direct. And so Found Sound might be one of those people that buy direct off IntelliGel. I don't know. Yeah. This is just complete speculation, right? But from a business point of view, they might get a 15% discount, or they might get a 30%. It depends on the way the price modelling works.
Yeah, exactly. This is where the MSRP
Yeah.
thing comes into it, and the different models for pricing and the standard markup for companies and
so if they got
retailers
a 30% discount, right? By the time they get that over here, they've skipped. They pay GST, but they've skipped the import duty tax, and they're probably making near on $500 Australian profit on that thing if they're selling it at $12.49. So that's a decent profit on something, and in my opinion, that's probably a bit heavy on the profit side. I've always been a bit critical with some shops to do that, but at the same time, I understand that they've got to pay their staff, they've got to pay their rent and fuel, light, and power, and I understand that's how that people stay in business. But we can vote with our feet.
That's the thing. We could shop around. Hopefully, us shopping around probably puts downward pressure on them. Hopefully,
yeah.
Because they're seeing other people. Oh no, I got one from such and such directly. Oh, did you? That's interesting. They can't be totally oblivious to it. What's happening? The whole thing changed when we went to online shopping, didn't it? Music stores. Imagine how their pricing structures change. So that's part of the reason why Cosmic went under.
The guys in the Northern Hemisphere, like where Andy lives, he lives in the US. There's an abundance of used gear, and it flies around at sometimes some crazily cheap prices, which Andy will tell you stories about. And then there's like places like where Daren lives in the UK, where if he wanted to jump in his car and drive, he's only a few hours drive away from seeing some of the most iconic synthesizers that you and I, Chris, will never ever see in our life, unless we jump on a plane. So what a lot of people don't realise is where Chris and I live, if we want anything, we have to pay exuberant freight charges to get it down this part of the world. And it's only exuberant because it literally is a long friggin' way. There is a massive ocean.
It's the tyranny of distance.
If you're coming from the Europes, you've got to go across the Indian Ocean. If you're coming from the US, you're going to go across the Pacific Ocean, and you're going to end up at the other side of Australia. So and then both they're massive, huge oceans. They've lost ships and planes, and you know what? They can't find them. That's how big that bloody place is. It's like
CDs, you name it.
CDs, exactly, Daren. And Daren is so butthurt about that. But you got it. You got one. Don't worry about it, mate. You got one.
I got it in the end. Yeah, it's just that we're still baffled to where that other.
The one on the plane you got, but the one on the boat you didn't. Yeah.
That's
it's in the Maldives, mate.
They said you couldn't possibly be on a globe down there. You'd fall off, right? So.
Well, we're near that ice. The ice. What do you call it?
think.
The ice wall.
The ice wall, yeah.
No, yes. Winter is coming, people.
I mean, when I told you guys about how I sold something on Reverb recently where I had to refund someone because it ended up being my bad. I own it, but the thing is that I thought to myself, geez, that price of freight is just so ridiculously stupid. When you think about like sending a lump of plastic really with some keys in it, some MIDI controllers, like it wasn't heavy or anything. It was just cubic size, volume. It was quite bulky. It was just humongously.
So I got to put it down your pants like Behringer.
Yeah, I navigate the world of postage, obviously. So I played around with some of the numbers just every so often. I go, now how much would it cost if it was, trying to see how the algorithms computed. Just where sometimes I do that with insurance values to see where their breaks are. But just dimensions and volumes and then something happens at a certain weight or a certain volume where it all completely changes.
It does. It goes to a next
scale.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is complicated for us. I think that's part of the reason why it's possibly a more straightforward in other countries with respect to the number of providers they have, and the services provided are quite equivalent and similar priced. Whereas I think the complexity gets us here in our part of the world.
So that's what the Ornament and Crime shipped in. Just a little standard Australia Post box, right? And you can see, I'm not going to turn it around the other way, it's got all my details on it, but you can see this thing is kind of tiny, okay? That cost $14 to send from Victoria to Australia, which is probably about a 5-day drive in a car if you were to drive, what is
across
it?
the Nullarbor.
3,500 k's, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. So when you think about that, that's really cheap. I think that's actually exceptionally cheap to get something.
Yeah, when you consider the price of petrol alone.
Yep. But if I was to send that same box to Andy in the Bay Area, it would probably cost me about $40-50 my money. So it's literally 3-4 times the price.
So if you just tell your carriers Marco, everything will work out.
Marco send it. Yeah, we need to find out what parcel service Marco runs. We want Marco's courier services.
Marco runs the diluted parcel service.
Yeah, we only ship items above $1 million.
Yeah.
Stuff wrapped in pink rags and stuff. Yeah. Right.
Covert ops, Black Hawk helicopter shipping. Yeah. I think like if I was to probably get something like I've always wanted to buy a Moog one or something like that, or a Waldorf Quantum, I would probably tee it up with a trip overseas at the same time. So like go to Super Booth, buy the Waldorf, put it in my suitcase, and bring it home.
Hand luggage.
Put it on your knee.
Yeah.
Don't you have freight options like a slow boat option where it's just the cheapest possible, or is it just no matter what?
Usually there's only one option.
Sometimes it's not that much cheaper, and it's like 4 times the time, and it's only like a quarter
it's a slow boat
or something. It is, yeah.
Yeah, it stops at the Maldives.
The time really drops off a cliff.
Where all the CDs are.
Yeah, just lounging about on the
bottom of the ocean.
Lounges.
Well, the people got on the coasters. They thought they were nice coasters.
Darren, it's probably some wacky he's probably got like an orchard grove there, and he's probably strung all the CDs up to scare the birds away from the apples and the you've seen that, right?
And mobiles out of the CDs.
Yeah. Boats get hijacked. Exactly, X101.
Yeah,
you've got to watch out for the boats. The pirates, especially. I used to work in the Air Force, and we went to the. Do you remember the first Gulf War, which was Kuwait? The first Gulf War was Kuwait, and then they had the second Gulf War, which was Iraq, right? And there were, it was quite a bit of difference in time between them. So I went to the first one, which was Kuwait, and that was when they were trying to take over the Kuwaitis. It was all Arab tribe type related stuff.
Yeah, burning the oil fields and all that.
Yeah, and so we were in. This was about what year was this? 92, 93, somewhere around there. We were on a Australian frigate, which is a naval, ship, and I literally spent not very long at all. Like not even. I don't know if it was a few days in total in terms of operational deployment, but I was probably on the ship for less than a few hours, and we had a pirate vessel attack the Australian Navy frigate. I don't know what rocks they had in their head. Do they actually know the amount of freaking
The rocks
weaponry?
that they were throwing at you, perhaps?
Mate, they had no idea. These guys are like
Spears
complete batshit crazy. They had these stupid little horrible, I don't know what they were made, Iranian-made machine guns that were going and just firing them in the air.
Yeah, do you remember what happened to the USS Cole, though? You guys underestimated them, and the little rowboat came up and exploded a big hole in that ship.
Yeah, well, that's... When was the USS Cole?
Yeah.
That might have been before that, wouldn't it? Was that?
I think that was
that Iraq?
I think it was Iraq, but
Yeah.
it's they underestimate those guys, and they'll sneak up on you and do stuff. So.
Well,
Yes.
anyway, what ended up happening with these idiots is they got their crappy little, I don't know what it was, like a little powerboat thing. It had like
Fishing vessel.
it was probably just a fishing boat, right? And it had like a little house canopy thing on top,
Yeah,
and
the
they could
house
go
thing,
underneath. Anyway, they got right up to the edge of the frigate, and because the frigate was motoring along, it had this, decent bow wave going down the sides of it. It literally smacked into the side of the thing and capsized, and these guys it turned into a rescue mission. It was complete comedy.
Yeah.
That's funny, actually.
Can you imagine?
It was scary.
That was my.
I was on a trip in Madagascar when Desert Shield became Desert Storm, and we thought we might be stranded there. Because we're literally in the middle of nowhere, and now war's broken out in that part of the world. So like, oh shit. So.
Yeah. So I went back after about 3 days or whatever it was. I went back and I just remember having this conversation with someone saying, "Oh, so how was the trip?" And I went, and because everyone was sort of going away overseas and coming back and they're not seeing any action. I said, I went over there. I was on the boat for about an hour. I saw action. I got fired at. We turned into a rescue mission, and then we came home. And it was literally like within 3 days. And guys are going away for years and not seeing an ounce of action.
Yeah.
Right? It was hilarious.
Yeah, you lucky. They would have said, "You lucky bastard."
Yeah, I don't know if it was
That's
lucky.
what they would
but,
have said.
Yeah, but it was interesting anyway. But yeah, so Pirates X101 is absolutely like there's still plenty of them today.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe those guys saw a Rambo movie. They thought he had a nice machine gun on that little junk he was shooting at, and so they'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, still to this day, like we have, I've got some friends that I still talk to about it, and we still to this day we scratch our head and think, what were they thinking? Like seriously, what were they thinking? They had these pissy little guns that went brrr in the air, and if you fired it at the side of this frigate, which is all completely mil-spec'd, it could, it would take rounds at it all day long. Like, you'd have to send some pretty decent rounds into the side of this thing to pierce it, right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. Maybe they were trying to scare us. I don't know. Well, we were really scared. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting part of that trip is actually getting home. It was fun.
All right.
It was kind of weird. So you have to they have to take you off, and I can't sort of go into where and how and all that sort of stuff. But they have to take you off and take you to a civilian airfield, right? And so I ended up in Israel.
Wow.
Because it was kind of nearby. I don't really say it's nearby,
exactly.
but it was kind of nearby. Kinda. Yeah. And you probably wouldn't want to go there today.
I was going to say,
No.
that would be a nasty surprise if you got told that at this time of year.
Yeah.
But you saw that craziness when we pulled out of Afghanistan. All the people holding onto the plane and stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
Jesus,
that was
that's crazy.
horrific. Yeah, there was actually a
That's crazy.
great documentary on that, a British documentary, interviewing some of the people who were involved at various different stages of operation. Some of them soldiers, some of them.
It was very well
medics.
planned, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was exactly. That was
Well,
the whole thing. It was
I
just
mean,
complete chaos.
it's hard to keep a secret like that, but I don't think they really tried. So everyone knew it was happening, and so good luck with. Once everyone knows they're leaving, good luck with that. So people are panicking. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's another Vietnam, isn't it? Really?
yeah. Well, we never would have gotten out of there if we didn't just pull out.
Yeah.
Would have been entrenched forever. So.
Well, you'd be running a country. You know, it'd be it'd be what is it, Panama or whatever it is. No, Puerto Rico, right? It wouldn't be Panama because Panama you gave back.
Well, Puerto Rico's, yeah, we never had.
But you never had problems there, right? We had a couple.
No, I mean they're Guam and Puerto Rico are perfectly fine places. I mean, I know people go back and forth all the time.
Oh yeah, they are.
They have a lot of rights. They have a lot of rights actually, as the U.S.
But the fact is that you'd be taking over a country like what Australia did with Papua New Guinea. Going back a bit now.
Yep.
We ended up giving it back, which is the right thing to do, right? But
yeah.
A lot of them, if you ever asked them, they would say, no, please come back and take it over again because it was a much better place when you guys were running it.
I mean, France and Madagascar, I think in '68 they got their independence. So.
I think we were 70 something for Papua New Guinea, if I remember rightly, 78 or something like that. Might have been Malcolm Fraser as the Prime Minister at the time, Chris. I think it was the guy that handed it. I'm not. You have to look at Google for that. But I just remember when I used to go there, because we used to do these what they call fish exercises, right, where we deploy aircraft to coastal survey all around. If you ever look at Australia on the world, right, on the world map, we're completely surrounded by ocean. So basically,
in fact, we're girt by sea.
We are, which is part of our song.
It's in a national anthem. Yeah.
And so we have to patrol the 200-kilometer international water zone, and we often find illegal fishermen. Like it's a daily thing. So that's why the Defence Force does that. We don't have the same, how you guys have got Coast Guard in the US. So we don't have the same sort of Coast Guard. We do have Coast Guard, but it's not the same type of thing that you guys have. So our Defence
Force, more military.
Our Defence Force does the coast guarding military stuff, and then the other coast guarding thing is more like a customs thing, right?
Yeah.
It's more like a immigration type thing. So I used to go up to Papua New Guinea a lot up that way, and we used to then get Australia used to get asked. I think it was we didn't get paid to do it. We did it for free for these countries to sort of stay in their good books. It was kind of a political thing. So we used to do it for like places like Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, and help the French out with Fiji and stuff like that. And we would be doing their coastal surveillance for them as well. And it was like you were constantly sending Navy vessels to counter attack people that were illegal fishing all over the Pacific Ocean. If you were doing it on the other side of Australia, which is the Indian Ocean, up near Indonesia and Timor and places like that, it's everywhere. And I was doing that in the 80s and 90s. They're still doing it today.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed.
Well, they have to go further out every time because they're overfishing everywhere. So pretty soon it's going to be a big mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the pressure continues, so
yep,
pushing them further.
So you guys have
population and overfishing.
So you guys in the US, you have that problem where people are traveling across the Mexican border, right? And I guess you to a smaller degree you have the problem in Florida where they're coming up through key through the Keys.
Well, anyway, through Texas and everywhere. So.
Yeah. So we've got the same problem here, but it's by boat, and we literally have illegal immigrants coming to our shores, packed onto these boats, and you guys have probably seen it in the news where, hundreds of people die from these boats capsizing, and because they've been overstacked with people, and these people are
they're crowded up in containers. They don't get enough air and they suffocate.
Yeah, I don't think we've really had the container issue, have we? Here, it's been more just.
We had the Tampa crisis, but that wasn't really a container.
Yeah.
I mean, they was on a container ship, but it wasn't
a container
actually,
ship.
They weren't in shipping containers.
Yeah.
No, they weren't in shipping containers. No.
So what we get is these, these type of fishing boats that they've gutted them all out, and they just squeeze as many human bodies as they can on as possible, and they're charging every single human being there an exuberant amount of money. Yeah.
And they rarely make distance, and they often only have enough fuel to actually get 70% of the way. They just need to get into the place where they think that the border patrols will be, and say, the Australians will take you when you run out of fuel. That's what they tell them. So,
well, in a way, they kind of almost rely on being captured, because then they'll get thrown into detention, and the rest is history, right? So, I find it kind of interesting, like that whole thing, because it, in a way, there's two worlds, isn't there? There's the world that we're living in, and here we are sitting in our nice, comfy, cozy little synth studios, right? And then there's another world where someone is desperate. They're going to pay this person all their life saving, and they'll squeeze on a boat with hundreds of people, shoulder to shoulder, crammed. How long it takes, to travel from Indonesia to Australia would be, probably a few weeks, not sure. But it'd be a long time anyway. It's just kind of very, very bad motoring along type.
Slow. Yeah.
The shittiest thing, right? I just kind of, sometimes it kind of makes you scratch your head and just think back. We whinging about shipping before.
Yes. Yeah.
First world problems.
First world problems. Yeah, very good point. Yes.
Yeah.
No, yes, it is like there's two different worlds.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And then that's probably what they're doing. They're probably like seeing, that we're doing these YouTube shows, and they're seeing this is the real world. They want that. They want to live in that society where they can live like that.
This is the interesting thing, of course, is that with the sort of the whole democratizing of communication, global communications now, anyone, with when you've got countries that can now just hook up to, what's the satellite system that Elon Musk runs?
Oh, Starlink.
Yeah. Starlink being given to some countries virtually for free. Everyone can see what everyone else is doing, how everyone else live, and of course they're going to want to come to where the stuff is better than where they are now. It's only going to get, the incentive's only going to get higher rather than lower. So I think
we're often complaining about warm synths, and so many people just want a warm meal, right? So
that's the thing. A warm room.
Yeah, they just want a chance to work for equal, proper pay and real simple conditions, and they just can't get them where they are, and that's why they put their lives in danger, because they really are trying to make a massive difference. So you got to feel for them.
And it's kind of come to the point where they think there's no other way.
Exactly.
So they are just like, it's
They're
like
desperate.
This is, I'm out. I need to go here.
And that they are making the commitment, because they're taking their entire life savings and spending it on this one shot to get out.
Yep. Yeah.
And often give it to charlatans and not getting anywhere.
That's the thing.
Well, yeah,
the expectation is
we're talking about the ones that were lucky enough to get on a boat. Like you said, Andy, there's lots that don't. There's people that give you the money and then they end up in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah, or just abandoned.
A 6-foot hold.
Lose their money.
Yeah.
In
Exactly.
several parts of the world, life is
stranded.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, you know, there's nothing I can do personally, you know. I mean, I probably did quite a lot when I was in the Defence Force anyway, so I've got skin in the game. But, you know, you kind of, I don't feel guilty, but I feel like, you know, it'd be nice if there's other ways that we can solve these worldwide problems. But
yeah, it doesn't sit comfortably with you, does it?
No.
It's the way it works now. It's like, actually, this isn't a great solution at the moment either. You know?
I think social media has been really. This is where I think social media has been actually really positive, because I feel like they're trying to censor it, but they can't. Like you know, they're trying all they can to censor it. They're trying to censor the newspapers and everything, but the message is still getting out there, which I think is really good. Like, we, as a world, we need to know that there's war crimes going on, that there's there's corruption in government, there's you know, what's the real reason behind the Ukraine war? What's the real reason behind what's happening in Israel and Palestine?
Well, plus a lot of that whole anti-woke stuff is actually anti-compassion. You know, it's just like, be cool. Let people, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. No, you're right. There is that sort of, there's two groups of people, aren't there? The people who believe that you should consider these sides and see them.
Yeah.
And those who think, no, people just, whenever they see that side, they do bad things. And so we don't want them to see that because they can't handle it, and because they go and do stupid things.
It's like they're trying to teach history now and remove all the bad elements.
Yeah.
Like American history has a lot of really shitty elements, like a lot of countries do. But there's, we can't teach that. That's too negative. Well, that's what fucking happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It is the whole. No, we don't. We want to move forward. We don't want to dwell on the past.
Sometimes what they put in those history books is not correct either. It's not a correct reflection of what really happened.
Right.
You know, we've got examples in Australia where there was like Aboriginals were completely wiped out in Tasmania, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
So that's complete genocide, you know.
Yeah, like American Indians, same thing. Native Americans got screwed. We're giving them, like, you know, smallpox blankets, literally trying to kill them.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So bringing this back to what we do, have you guys ever written music that's political?
Oh, that from a CD that got lost.
Ooh.
Well, you started, Daren. Have you guys ever written any music that's political? Or it has a message, like a political message?
Well, you know, a lot of mine has a message, not necessarily. Yeah. Some political, some not.
Yeah.
You just have to go back through all my YouTube stuff.
I don't have lyrics in anything. I do a lot of world music stuff that might have some implications like that. So
yeah. Well, yours could be, empathetic, right, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, commentary, yes, not so much political. I don't think of it as being political, but political stuff might slip in. Yeah. That's the thing, is I don't consciously.
Well, you might have an opinion on it, right?
It's not.
Yeah, that's my point. Or I'll do something that I think's funny to me because it's slightly ironic, and someone will say, "Oh, that's a really political thing to say," and you go, "Oh, yeah, I guess it is, because not everyone thinks the same way as me, so it's politics."
Yeah, I let my tree.
So I don't do it consciously. Yeah. So not consciously rants, but you know,
I've only really ever done it like probably a couple of times to a smaller degree, but one time have I ever done it to a sort of like where the whole song is literally a big middle finger at what our government had done to us, and it was more kind of like I feel like our rights were taken away, and this was a while ago. This is a song I did called User, which is on my Linked album, where I wrote about how our government took our rights away from our privacy, where our government can literally just spy on us if they don't even really need to tell us. They can just do it.
No, they do it anyway. So.
That was the metadata related.
That's the metadata thing.
Yeah. That was.
And really, all it was just them admitting that they're already doing it anyway. That's really all it was. Which was kind of
formalizing something they did unofficially in legislation.
Kind of pathetic, really.
We have the CIA always been doing that stuff anyway. Yeah. I'll never have to tell you.
So when I wrote it, I kind of, it's kind of interesting because like when you write music and you've got a very big sort of story to tell, sometimes you're quite passionate about it. Sometimes that feeling might be a feeling of anger. That feeling might be a feeling of disappointment. In my case, it wasn't any of those sort of negative feelings. In my case, it was kind of more like, I think I'd like to write it so that if someone was listening to it, they would go, holy shit, is that what they're doing? It was more of an, I kind of wanted to come across more of an educational sort of way. Yeah. And I did this little sort of AI type voice at the end where it was kind of, I copied a bit of another artist. I admit to it, I did it because I thought it was cool. But where he talks about, I used one of those AI voices, you know, where he talks about, we want your, and then just a whole bunch of information, like we want your information, we want your shopping list. It was just, I just put a whole bunch of random words, and when you finished listening to it, you sort of went, holy shit, they actually do get all that, don't they?
A lot of stuff,
yeah. And you sit back and you think, okay, so I've just listened to this song. I've worked out that the government's listening to us. They're collecting all this metadata. They're storing it for forever, really. They're saying that they're only storing it for a certain amount of years, but that's crap. If they want to use it against you, they'll use it against you. And they literally, like, through all the different social media platforms and everything, they could piece, like a jigsaw puzzle, all the shit that you're doing in your life together. Because let's face it, we're kind of, unless we're completely living on a deserted island and being recluse, living in a cave, you know, Hermit McDermott style, I don't think...
Off-grid.
Yeah, off-grid. I don't think anyone's really sort of, you know, safe from that sort of situation. Yeah.
Sure.
Ooh.
So you're just doing a much more subtle version of what like U2 and Midnight Oil did and stuff, where they're just in your face, you know, like...
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I loved how... I used to think Midnight Oil had the biggest set of testicles ever. Some of their songs that they wrote, you know. And a lot of it was to do with the big corporations.
Good points, yeah.
They're still valid today.
Or environmental stuff or whatever.
Yeah. So valid. Even today, like the Blue Sky Mine song, right? So valid today.
Well, Beds Are Burning, right? It's a
Beds Are Burning,
big serious one. Yeah.
But when you do write a song, this is kind of where I'm getting at. Like we were just talking before about a few issues with the world, right? And if you think to yourself, what can I do? Maybe music is what you can do. Maybe that's your way.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that about arts in general. You know, sometimes arts is the responsibility sometimes of an artist is to put a mirror up to society, I think is the kind of quote they do. I think it's certainly partially true for musicians. So.
It's more well received when you do it like you did it, where it's not just like you just happen to list some stuff and people go, that's interesting. Instead of like, you have to do this.
There's certainly different. There's sort of activism music, which is a completely different kettle of fish, and protest music. But, you know, what we're talking about is sort of like, you know, we have songs about this stuff and we also have songs about other things.
Trickle it out.
Mundane things. It's just a mixture of, it's everything that we experience, and that includes our thoughts and feelings on situations like this.
So I went down the path. This is kind of what you're saying, Chris. I went down the path of I didn't want it to be influential. I want it to be more factual, because I feel that there's two different ways to get a message across. You can try and influence people by trying to force them to change their opinion, or you can just give them the facts and let them digest that and let them, you know, work out what they want to do with that themselves. And you know, you've got the issue of intelligence and, you know,
and you definitely do have audiences for that, and for both sides really, because there are some people who only really need it smashed into their head in a nice neat jingle, memorable earworm, and other people who
is this
just enjoy.
Are you writing the track? Are you writing the track before adding this, or is this something that you want to do and the track's written around that? Because when I wrote, times it's like a track that's evolving, and then you think this will be great when it's overlaid.
You've heard User, Daren. I wrote the track the music to fit the message.
Nice.
So
Right, that's what I mean. Yes.
it was probably the first time I did that. It's kind of cool because like when you guys think about how people write scores for movies, that's kind of how they do it. They're trying to invoke feeling through the music to help the viewer see what's happening on that scene.
Yeah,
that they're looking at.
making leitmotifs and stuff like that.
Yeah. So in that song, there's elements of music that come out powerful when certain words are hitting, and then pull back when they're not. I've done this before. Like there was on one of my earlier albums, I did this song called "The Apology," which was another semi-political song that I've done, where it's about the stolen generation. I've told you guys about this before. But it's actually a personal version because it's actually my family that it's happened to. Because I've got a sister that was taken in the stolen generation, and so I was writing about that. But I did bring samples of prime ministers talking in it because that shows how widely sweeping this particular issue was at the time. And there was a couple of kind of weird things that I did when I wrote that song. Well, number one was that I wanted to write a song where I used one synthesizer only, and I used the Bass Station 2 only in that song. And that then became a challenge for a musician to go, okay, what can I get out of this instrument? And in a way, that was kind of like an early precursor to name that synth, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then I wanted that to be the motif to different sort of feelings and emotions as you sort of ebbed and flowed through the story of that song. So it wasn't political as such. It was more just a personal reflection of a situation that was kind of political, if that makes sense. So in a way, yes, it is political, but not
political
really.
as a device to be able to create music, as opposed to the ends and means of the music itself. Yeah.
So if you listen to that, it should feel dark and in a way kind of angry. That should be the feeling that you get, but at the same time, there should be a little sense of sadness through it as well. So that song is not something that you'd want to listen to if you want to pick me up, right? But you know what? I don't usually write music like that. But it was very, very like emotionally releasing for me to write that.
Well, it's cathartic to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
Great. I don't actually, I don't feel like after I've written it, I don't feel like I carry anywhere near the amount of emotional baggage that I used to carry.
Cool.
And it's interesting too, because I told my family about it. I said, here's this song I've written, you guys know what it's about. I've told you what it's about. And the different reactions that I got from the different family members about it were kind of quite polarizing. Some were like, some couldn't give a shit. Which you guys know what it's like, right? You have family members, if you ever tell them about your music, they just don't care. That's just how they are in general, right?
Yep.
And then others are kind of like anti it. They're like, oh, why did you have to go and do that? Oh, no, that's personal, that stuff, So there's that. And then there's other people who went, oh, my God, that is so true. And I actually felt every second of that track when I was listening to it. So you're getting all these different, spectrums from family. Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, what you brought up too makes me. I don't know if you know about the new trend now. They're actually stealing kids off the street in China and adopting them to other people who can't have kids. There's a whole epidemic now. It's really, really bad.
Human trafficking is nasty, isn't it? Everywhere in the world, though.
But I mean, it's not like a weird, creepy thing like in some other parts of the world. It's literally just they want to have a kid. They want to steal it. They can't have it. For whatever reason, they can't afford it. They'll just take it. And the parents never see that kid again.
Kind of industrialized at the moment.
There's a billion people there. I mean, how many kids do they want?
Some people can't have them, some can't afford them. There's all kinds of reasons why. They sell them overseas.
So just
live
with it. Sorry,
they can't.
Just deal with it.
Bad.
I know.
Yeah.
I know someone who actually had a sibling disappear that way. So it's terrible.
That's sad.
Look, there's there's a definite different way to be brought up in a country where there's 1 billion people than a country like ours where there's only like I live in this particular city. There's only 2.5 million here. It's like there's so much space here. You go to the beach and you can't see anyone for a few hundred meters. You go to a beach in your city, Andy, and there'd be people like you know, a lot closer. And you go to the beach in Europe, and they'd be like shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. So you know, it's kind of weird. And then, but then they come and move here, and they live in your world where you're used to the space and the relaxed attitude and everything. And they bring that. I've lived in a country with 1 billion people, and it's very dog eat dog. It's competitive. Everyone has to sort of make it or break, because otherwise they'll be living in the slum drains. You know, that's kind of the life that they've got. You know, it's interesting to see how they bring those attitudes and values into your world where you've never had to fight for your next meal. You've never had to.
Well, you go to a beach in this country, you can't see the beach.
Oh, your side of it.
There's too many people with hats.
No,
because they don't want to get sunburned. They don't want to get sunburned from the dappled light.
Well, yeah, that's true. But there's two main reasons. One, there's so many people out there. Because the second reason is we very rarely get that decent sun for people to go to the beach. So when it does, every single person's there.
Yeah.
It's like every day you remember the Polar Bear Club, right? So.
A beach snob. What's a beach snob?
Well, that's.
Oh, as in, like,
I mean, even though
that you've snobbed someone at the beach,
or that we have beaches that we like to and beaches that we don't, or beaches that the way you behave on the beach. Like, oh, let's move over there. There's too many people over there.
Oh, you don't want to go to a crowded beach. You want to have your own little private area.
I mean, the beach that I like in my city is called Trig. I love Trig. It's just such a cool beach. You go there, and it's not your main tourist beach that you get. The next beach down is, which is called Scarborough, but you go to Trig, and it's, you know, you've got a surf lifesaving club there. You can go surf the waves. Oh, I mean, yelling up, hell, yeah. I know what you mean by snob now. Okay, yeah.
Some places you have to be careful. Like in parts of Hawaii, they get
Comparing
the locals punch you when you get on their waves.
Yeah, well, surfing's a whole different thing entirely, isn't it?
Irrational's just said
you're a howlie. They don't like howlies, right? So
guys, in chat, Irrational's just said, like, he's just talked about yelling up, right? There's this town down south in the southwest of Australia called Yelling Up, and literally, it's there's a finite amount of land, right? That I think they started releasing it in the 60s, like, you know, last century, right? And you know, and people bought these little sort of crappy little, you know, holiday shacks down there.
Shacks, yeah.
And these holiday shacks are now worth $5 million.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. And the land, there's no land to be released, so because all around it is all national parks, so the government won't release the land. And it's literally like, if you can imagine this, it's like an escarpment off a cape. And so you come down this really, really steep cape, and then you wind your way down to the bottom, and there's a beautiful little sandy beach. It's kind of like a little cove down the bottom, and it's very picturesque, but it's very, how would you say it, Chris? It's very Australian-y, you know, in the sense that it's kind of, you know, it's wind blown, and
it's kind of rugged.
Rugged.
It's kind of rugged.
You know,
it's like,
you can imagine a shipwreck on the side of the beach type thing.
It's blowy. It's a bit blowy.
But you get beautiful weather as well, and you get some waves, and surfers love it and stuff. But, you know,
it's like here we have big surfs like that. Yeah,
that's Yelling Up, right? And if you were lucky enough I've got some friends who own property down there, and I don't know how they got it, but they got it. They're quite wealthy as well, so it's one of those sort of places now. Yeah. But yeah, my daughter goes around that sort of area, and she does snorkeling and stuff like that with her friends. So it's kind of that sort of world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have down south. We have beach huts, which are all bigger than this room, that are going for prices more than a house is. And half the time you can't even get to the beach because the weather's not that good. So
I can't believe
200,000.
Are you? Is it just our world, Daren? Your part of the world. You've had some extraordinary house price increases.
I hope
haven't
so.
you? Yeah.
Sometimes I feel as though I'm not in the world. But...
Like it's weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like housing prices have like tripled in the last few years. It's insane, you know.
Yeah, they just go. People were buying them for like 30,000 years and years and years ago, and now you're like.
My dad's current house is
not
worth
mine,
like $4.5 million right now, and it's like a ranch house, simple ranch house.
Yeah. And like our parents when they bought our houses, my parents are still around, and they're still living in the same house that I grew up in as a kid. And when I was visiting Mum the other day, we were talking about how much she paid for it, and I'm like, what? It was like
yeah, but you see,
I literally had that money in my bank
you,
account. That's how little they
for
paid
you
for
and
it.
Andy. We look at the size of your houses. When you say 4 million or whatever, and we see the size of your houses, and we go, well, yeah, we can understand it. Over here, you're looking at a terrace at that, a little tiny one with hardly any garden, and it's like
But the UK's a bit like that, but then you've got parts of the UK where you've got those those other estates where they're all detached. So then more of the modern estates have got those detached houses where they're kind of bigger. The 4-bedders detached.
The newer builds as well. If they're out in the say sticks, they're not. It wouldn't be sticks to you, but to us it'd be more than 10 miles.
You got to commute more.
Yeah. But like I say, I mean, in certain places, I mean, it's just the house sizes is ridiculous. I mean, you can quite easily get up to $1 million, and you think you get that for $1 million, and it's like and to you it'd be just like probably half of your house, if that, and with less than a garden. Some of them they don't even have a garden.
Yeah, and also understanding £1 million is like 2 million Australian as well. So that's the other problem too. Like, if I lived in the UK, I reckon I'd blow a lot of money really, really quick, thinking that things were really cheap because I haven't got used to the fact. Yeah,
before you caught them.
Is that all?
It's hard to.
That's twice over there.
Here, mate, have a 50.
I still have the same problem, even with US dollars. I go, oh, that's only $270, and then I get to the end checkout and go, it's 340 Australian. And I go, oh, that's right. And I always have to pause. Go, now, what was the reason I decided? Currency.
We're saying it's about 1 million chuffs for a house in. He's still in Switzerland, isn't he? I think he's still in Switzerland, right?
Ask him. Is he still in?
Well, he's talking chuffs, so he must be still in Switzerland.
That's
right?
what I said, chuffs. Yeah.
That's probably okay. I mean, depends on what city he's talking about. Like, I mean, Geneva would probably be one of the most expensive, right? In Switzerland.
Depends on the house too. You get some of those houses in San Francisco, which are those tall, thin ones with all the different colors. No yard, no space, no yard, lots of noise. So.
1 Swiss franc to AUD. Yeah, so it's about the same conversion as the pound. So it's about the same value as a pound.
Okay.
So chuff's about £1.
Yeah.
The sterling.
What is it? Yeah, 1 Swiss franc to GBD. Yeah, 0.86. So it's a little bit. You've got a little bit more stronger.
Yeah.
But don't forget too, the country to country is different.
Yeah.
With the way we trade, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking. He's talking about Japan property prices, which makes sense because that's his background. But I was talking to a friend who literally he's married to a Japanese wife, and they live here, but they go back and visit the family all the time, and it's actually really quite inexpensive at the moment to live in Japan compared to here. I think it'll catch up though, like because Singapore's not, and like if you go to Singapore, everything is really expensive now in Singapore. I think Japan will eventually catch up. Hong Kong is expensive now, as well.
Also, their yen is weaker now. I went first time I went to Japan. It was I think it was 140 to the dollar, and then I went back for a business trip. It was 90 to the dollar, and you really felt that.
Yeah. So Mac's saying he can't own land or even a house realistically in Thailand. Wow, in Chiang Mai. I reckon you should look at living in Malaysia, mate. It's cheaper.
Yes.
Malaysia's a good place to live. Oh, okay. Because of your nationality. So it's like a law that you can't own land.
There's a bit of that, I think. Quite a few countries.
But don't they have those immigration things like residency and stuff like that? I'm sure every country has.
We definitely don't have that here. The people, all different countries, buying up land here. So
no, but you have. So you'd obviously have to go through immigration type stages, right, before you're allowed to buy land. So in America, you'd have to get a green card, right? You'd have to become a citizen before you can buy land.
No.
So what's the status?
That's part of the problem. In fact, if you look at, like David Letterman used to complain about this all the time when the Japanese are buying all parts of New York for businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not living there. They don't have green card status, and they're buying actual land for business properties. And
we got that.
Yeah, well, companies are allowed to buy land, right? That's the problem.
But it's true of home ownership too. There's a lot of people who don't live here who buy land here and rent it out and go back home.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we have
because a lot of countries don't do that, and we do it. But if we didn't do it, people say, "Oh, you're just being racist." I'm like, no, other countries do it. Don't let you just do it if you're not a citizen.
I don't understand how that's racist though. No one has no one has ever given me an explanation to show that that's racist. Well, it's
not racist at all. But it's just a silly argument.
Yeah, it's the semantics they're arguing as opposed to the
it's nationalist,
intent
but it's not racist.
So, the semantic.
I mean, the definition of racism is not that at all. That's the first part.
Yeah, but some people, again, it's one of those. Oh no, your definition of racism is different mine, but that's okay because it's politics.
Sure.
The excuse for any differing opinion.
It's like Trump. Definition. He says he's not racist, but he's clearly extremely racist.
Well, he's white supremacist. That's what he is. But
exactly.
Yeah. But the issue of owning land, it's contentious. There probably are some exceptions to the rule where you probably should allow someone to own land. But I always feel like there's always a situation where does that person actually need to own that land, or could someone else own it and lease it to that person? Do you know what I mean? Like there's always theories around how that would work. One of the arguments I got here when I talked about this to someone was that even if we did actually own the land, which I do, I own my land that I'm sitting on right now, we actually don't really own it. There's that theory because, like for example, if I want to build a building on this land, a structure, I have to seek approval from my local council to do it. So I don't really own it, do I? If I have to seek someone else's approval to do something on my land.
It's like you own it, but you're
especially
not
certain
sovereign
developments.
Of it.
Yeah, like housing developments, you have your HOA rules and stuff like that. So you have to follow their rules and
So it's not really, you're not really purely owning something if you don't like have complete freedom to do with that land what you please.
But some of that is common sense too. They don't want you to put a car on blocks on your front lawn and ruin the property value for your neighbors. So
yeah. But there's other parts of the country where you could put a car on blocks and no one would care, right?
Oh yeah.
So
it's arbitrary.
You could
I
say
had relatives in Louisiana did that, so
you could say
they didn't give a shit.
That's a type of schism, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's think of a word. Is that it's a schism of some sort? But yeah.
Yes, how many meters of air above your house above your property line do you own, for example? I know that was a big issue when they started talking about drones, saying, "Oh, I shouldn't be able, I should be able to put a drone up in my backyard." I said, "No, because you don't own the space above 2 stories. I own the whole thing right up to the stratosphere." That's what I understood. You get those kind of
Well, long before that, we had neighbors
people
burning
who
garbage. It's like,
shooting
you can't
down
do
drones.
that. You can't burn garbage in your backyard.
Yeah. It's like, I do anything I want in my backyard. Yeah, but you're not just doing it in your backyard because smoke goes over there. And it's like the old, if I wave my arms around and you get hit in the face, it's not my fault.
Babs, I absolutely hate property taxes. I think that is
stamp duty.
That is literally the worst tax in the world. Because
there's also death tax.
Once you or death tax, we won't even go there because Japan's got death tax. Once you actually once you've bought a property, right, you are still paying tax on that property. I just think the whole thing it's a scam, really. It's a government scam of trying to get
each time
money.
you move, each time it changes hands, more tax again.
Yep. So the government literally has second suck of the sab.
Yeah.
Each time.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah. End suck of the sab, right?
To the infinity.
Yeah. So the one that annoys me the most is we have this thing called water rates in Australia. So I don't know if you guys get that. When you get your water bill, there's two parts of a water bill. So every 60 days you'll get a water consumption bill, but I think it's twice a year or whatever it is, you pay a rate bill to have the water connected, and that rate bill is based on the value of your property.
It's ridiculous.
So my neighbour pays less. My neighbour over here pays the same. My neighbour across the road pays less, all because they have smaller blocks of land or property values less than what my property is valued at. It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous tax, in
arbitrary
the world.
rules.
Yeah.
But water tastes better going through your pipes.
But I'm paying more. This guy, I said to him, look, I tell you what, I won't use any water. I'll just borrow it from you, and I'll just pay half your bill.
It's true. Yeah.
It's not that bad, by the way. It's we're talking a few dollars difference, but but the whole thing is kind of ridiculous. The whole thing.
Yeah.
So you see, you don't get synth shows like that.
How cool was that? Well, talk about anything. Like, write a song about how taxes pissed you off if you want, or
whatever you're passionate about.
Write a song about people who own land in your country that shouldn't. Do that if that helps you. I'm gonna have to go. I've got a coach tomorrow. I didn't have to coach last week. I had a week off. It's school holidays. This is the last weekend of school holidays, so my kids go back to school next week. Yep.
Then it's something else, or got to take the kids to something else on a Sunday, maybe.
What do you mean?
What do you guys call it? Winter break or something like that, or what do you?
I assume when the seasons change, different sports and stuff like that, activities.
Well, there's still with soccer or football for Daren. There is still.
Oh, yeah, we don't mind soccer.
There's still 7. I think there's 7 or 8 weeks to go with that, so we're probably sort of heading towards the end of August for that. So I kind of feel like actually quite a lot of sports will change seasons around the end of August and September. They play finals in September, and then October would be the next. The summer sports will start kicking in. But the weird one we've got here, my son plays hockey, and I would have thought hockey would have been very similar to soccer, but it's not. It's shorter. So his hockey season finishes really, really soon, and then he doesn't have hockey. So which is good for me because it means I have less to do on a Saturday for the kids, and I'm just hoping that my wife doesn't fill it up with something stupid.
There's that thing you need to fix, Rance.
Do you guys do curling down there? Do you have a curling league?
I know what curling is. No, I haven't seen it.
But no, I don't know if we have
Yeah.
curling here in Perth, but you certainly have it somewhere in the
Is that
country.
the one that you do on ice?
Yes.
You have to you
With the
sweep the
brushes?
ice and the puck, the giant puck, goes.
I don't know how well ice would work here. Just
There's
It's indoors
ice.
in a lot of places, right?
I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have it
We're
open.
dead set in the middle of winter, and I'm wearing short sleeve shirt. Right. What temperature is it right now?
Don't you have ice skating rinks though?
It's 11 degrees. This is probably the coldest it's been all year, and I'm still wearing a
Just use
short
an ice
sleeve
skating
shirt.
rink.
It's just,
Yeah.
Chris is wearing a short
yeah,
sleeve t-shirt.
we've got
Yeah,
curling
me
rings.
too.
We've got quite a few.
Chris, Adelaide was
I
cold.
mean, I think with the Olympics,
can
curling
imagine.
got more popular.
I really felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Worse than
felt
here.
it. It was probably like temperature-wise, it was probably only 1 or 2 degrees difference, but it was actually really cold.
It was like a chill.
So what's the
Yeah.
coldest you guys
Chills
get?
to the bone type chill.
But the thing is, this is what I'm just saying to Chris. We don't get cold. The temperature is cold, but we don't get cold here. Whereas I went to another city called Adelaide, and it was only probably 1 or 2 degrees cooler than here, and I was absolutely freezing cold because it's a different type of air. The air
exactly,
is kind
yeah.
of.
I don't know what it
Humidity
is.
makes a difference.
I think maybe we just have more humidity here. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah,
but
they've you know how they in summer rants
We don't know cold.
always they always used to have the comfort value or whatever it is where they say it's 28 degrees but it feels like 25.
feels like.
Have you
death.
seen that? Yeah.
Yeah,
They've started doing that with the cold temperatures now. So that's when it says it's 14, but it feels like 10. It's like,
Yeah.
why does
Well,
it
we've
feel
always had
different?
that variation.
It's a thing.
It's
It
not
is
the
a
heat,
thing.
it's the stupidity. So
I've got half beast. I do know cold. I have literally lived in places which are bitterly cold, but living here, I rarely get cold. Living in this city, it's actually beautiful here, all year long.
People usually complain about it being cold.
Here,
You know, like
Well,
yeah,
as in proper
like
deserts
it's
do get cold.
this is wrong. What's wrong with this cold? We don't have cold here. You know, it should be sunny all the time and rain. Rain's really annoying.
Those
here in
people need a
Perth.
slap.
Yeah, I just say
I imagine
they're
that
not,
area
they're not
around
cold people.
Uluru gets pretty damn cold some time of the year, right?
I'll just give him Darren's phone number. He can tell him about cold.
Cold. Hey, our summer at the moment is 18 degrees.
Oh, that's all right then. That's not bad. Yeah,
Not bad. That's quite poor for this time of year. We're usually in the 20s,
yeah.
and we've been down to like 14, 13.
Well,
It's
that's
just
not
recently
nice.
crept up to about 18.
That's not nice.
And that's
Starting to get
summer.
unpleasant.
We've had cold and rain in the middle of summer here sometimes. The weather's all wacky.
It is wacky. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did our summer go long here? We didn't have any rain. We were supposed to get rain and it just didn't come. And then it all kind of
But
came.
climate change
Came
doesn't exist. You know, you gotta remember that.
Oh, mate, the arguments
just
I've had
weather.
with people about climate.
Have I heard that somewhere before?
Yeah.
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 Hey, but did someone say you can get beachfront properties better if the oceans rise? Someone over the pond said that on one of his speeches.
Someone
Say
over
no
the
more.
pond. Someone with red hair.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually, to be honest, Andy, I mean, I was telling my wife this today or yesterday because she was, talking to me about all the US stuff going on. I said, I just don't want to know. I live in a different country. Why do I need to know about this crap? Darren, you got a new prime minister, right? I know sweet bugger all about this guy, apart from the fact that he was knighted by your queen, who's now passed on. Other than that, I don't know much about him. And I think I feel sorry for the US because I think I said this last time, Andy, on the show when you guys had an election last time. I think you guys have got so many more people that could do such a better job than the candidates that are putting themselves forward right now.
Oh, of course. Nobody
And that's
really
the
good
shame.
wants to run.
Yeah.
You notice that? That's why there's a big
Yeah.
vacancy. Nobody.
That is
it's a
the
shit
shame.
job. Nobody wants it. So they're only keeping the shitheads in power. So
So the way I look at it is this way: if as a country, if you want the rest of the world to look at you and see progress and it's a great nation and all that sort of stuff, it starts with the people. It starts with the people that you put at the head of it. And
even in Congress, and we have, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert, they're all so stupid. We have so many dumb people. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The thing is, when we was having our elections, because it came up, because obviously you call it sort of more or less a spot election type of thing, and you're thinking, oh God, oh no, and then you go look over the pond and you go, well, actually, maybe not so bad, actually.
Well, because the decision was
that's what
easier?
we're thinking.
Well,
no, but you just think of, we think ours are bad.
Well, no, but, Daren, if you look at yours, you had Boris, then you had Theresa, then you had the guy that couldn't care if he lost his job because he had so many billions of dollars in his bank account anyway.
God, yes,
right?
Rich.
So it was a no-brainer, that election, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
I think you made the right decision.
At least there was a choice, I suppose. It might not have been a good choice, but then when you look at the US's and you think, I like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I won't go down that route, basically, because I've never heard anything so...
I think you're going to have to wait and see with him, aren't you, Daren, with yours? Because there's a bit of unknown about him, and there's a bit of known about him, so you'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But with Andy's world, there's, this guy.
Exactly. It's like...
whether you like him
we
or
know
not.
them all. They're all terrible.
Yeah,
they're all terrible.
And it's to me, it's just a shame that you guys don't have anyone better to put up there.
But he's now a multiple convicted felon. He's still going to win the presidency.
I just don't get that. I do not get that.
Yeah,
blows my mind.
In our system, in our political system, they would not be allowed.
Yeah,
we get kicked out for.
Yeah, you can't have any.
They've had a vote of no confidence by that point.
Yeah, you can't have any criminal
like we did. Like we did 3 times.
Yep.
But
it's if you know Superman comics, this is the Bizarro world. So
it doesn't make sense, there's people that will say that he's been wrongly accused, and how's that fair? And all, I get it. I'm not going to get involved in that, but see, Bert's on the money here. Marco, he's got $1.5 million now from.
Well, I think he's actually a secret third candidate.
Yes.
We didn't see him yet, but he's going to show up.
Yeah.
All that money he's making from his sales on eBay.
Yeah.
He's going to run for president.
He's raking. That's the campaign, mate.
That's
how he's funding it.
If only you could write whatever you want on those ballots.
Synth funding.
Marco.
There's a new hashtag, synth funding.
Yes.
Oh my God!
It's the Marco.
So when is it? Is it November? Yeah. Is that when the actual election is going to be held? Is it November?
Oh yeah. Super Tuesday, as they call it, which makes you just want to kill yourself. So
yeah, I remember the last one. I don't know. You got Obama's wife.
It ain't so super.
So long.
Yeah.
Obama's wife. I don't know. Why can't they get some new people?
There always are. Because I remember in 1988 we had like this giant, like Jesse Jackson, and all this huge thing of Democrats and this huge thing of Republicans, this giant wall of people.
Oh, after Reagan, yeah.
And nowadays you get hardly anyone runs these days.
Well, the thing is that Reagan guy created such a shitstorm, though, didn't he? So just about everyone.
We're still feeling the effects of that guy.
Yeah.
In fact, the Proposition 13, where they defunded a lot of stuff. They closed a lot of the mental institutions, and a lot of the crazy homeless people we have now are from way back then.
Yeah.
Because those facilities don't exist.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
it's very bad.
It's time to wrap it up, people.
Okay.
Save some prayers for Andy's world.
Yes. God bless America. That's all I can say.
I've got a feeling the prayers won't even help.
No. In fact, that's actually causing more trouble because of all the religious rights stuff. So
write some music, people.
I'll go down there.
Yes, will do, as you well know. I'll be mixing some music.
Use the stupidity of comments that we've said in the show as your inspiration. Take that somewhere.
Now there's an idea.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know what was going on with with
Zoom.
but it was working our end, so I think it was probably just Keith having some dramas, and I noticed that he was probably using his phone, so maybe he was at Gearfest or something, I'm not sure, but that's fine. Yeah. Anyway, next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Enjoy yourselves, press record, be nice to everyone, and see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.